Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy, and we're live on Saturday night for the first time. Chaos in LA. It looks like it's just starting to amp up. Curfew's coming up in about an hour at 8 o'clock West Coast time. That being said, we're going to be monitoring the protest slash chaos all night long across the nation. We have multiple cam feeds. We'll be going into LA. Chicago looks like it's amping up. San Antonio has quite a big crowd, so it could pop off there as well. A lot of these protests were canceled today, so it seems like mainly the sanctuary cities is kind of where it's ramping up at.
Yes, where they're not taking as much law enforcement. And if you're new, if you're just joining us right now, I'll just say we live in Mexico City. I'm Mexican, and we used to live in Canada for a while.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us. If this is the first time, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you can help us out, that would be a huge help. Let's get right into the feeds, though.
Sure.
So we're going to keep these feeds on all night long. Once in a while, we'll go big screen on a different feed, or we'll try to find something if there is more action. The sun is just starting to set in a lot of parts of the nation. Obviously, the East Coast cities are going to get dark first. The big East Coast city to watch is New York. There was a huge crowd in New York. It got a little bit violent today. The big city to watch, though, is LA, but it gets dark. It's last city to get dark because it's the furthest on the West Coast.
And also maybe Chicago.
Chicago as well. There's quite a few people. San Antonio, there was a few people, but LA is already amped up. They're throwing rocks, they're throwing bottles, they're throwing bricks. Them and the cops have been kind of going at it all day in these small skirmishes. They'll kind of amp up the violence, and then the cops will come in, it will get toned down, squashed, and then it will ramp up again. And it's been like that all day. So, Mayor Karen Bass actually came out in LA, and what did she say? Do you remember what she said?
Mayor Karen Bass?
Yeah, Mayor Karen Bass. No. She said this was 4 hours, or now it's probably 7 hours ago. She put a tweet out saying, "This is how we protest in LA, no violence, blah, blah, blah." Yes. 4 hours after that tweet, there was violence, and there's been consistent violence ever
not
since.
Violence, but they've tried to walk towards where the police were, to the building.
That's completely wrong. There's been assaults on the police and everything else. I don't know if you've been watching it like I have.
I've been watching mostly one stream.
Okay, yeah, there has been violence all day, but compared to the first 3 days of the protest, it's been minor. I am expecting later tonight, after curfew, if the people stay after curfew in LA, because 8 o'clock is the curfew, it's only going to be people that are really looking for trouble.
And we're showing Starship Adventures on YouTube, who has all the cams kind of set up all together. So thank you.
So if we do go off there at any point, I do recommend Starship Adventures. If you listen to its audio, it's also primarily police walkie-talkies and radios. So he goes between each city and things like that. Most of the feeds are live. Once in a while, one of the channels will replay, and then he'll try to figure it out and then use a live feed for that particular city.
Yes.
This is the best because we can kind of watch the whole nation and what's going on. Once in a while, either me or Nat will start talking, and the other person will start looking at their phone to see if there is any other cities or any other cams that we're kind of missing at this point.
Yep.
But Austin is looking fairly peaceful at this point.
And we tried to set it up kind of like this ourselves, but it ended up being kind of difficult because we are going to be talking over it. So just figuring it out maybe for next time. But for now, we'll be going between different sources, let's just say.
Yeah, we'll be going between different sources. We'll probably... I'm expecting to stay on here quite a while because I'm expecting things to amp up. If nothing kind of happens, we're on Central Time if you're in the U.S. So if nothing happens by 11, 12 o'clock Central Time, I think we'll be going off the air. And
I honestly think probably as a tactic, I don't think much is going to happen. But
okay, I'll bet you. Yeah, I've been calling it all week. It's definitely going down in L.A. tonight. Because
there's a curfew still, and there's kind of state of emergency for downtown. So
they've been the protesters have been shot at and gassed all day. They've been throwing rocks back, so it's already been escalating. I don't think these people are going home. They've had drones swarm the cops at certain points. There's a channel that actually has a drone. I've been watching that channel. They've been trying to hit cops with this freaking drone. Okay, yesterday we talked a little bit of news. We did bring the news articles as we talked about them. Today, because today is the big day, if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen tonight. So we will talk about the news until things do ramp up, but we won't bring up the articles today. We'll just kind of discuss them if that works for you.
Sure.
Okay. Did you see what happened with Disney today?
No.
Okay, so slowly but surely, some healing is taking place at Disney. The legend Ron Clements is coming out of retirement and rejoining the Walt Disney Animation Studios as a mentor for younger writers and animators. And we have a pop culture, or I have a pop culture show in the morning at 12 Central, Monday through Friday. So if you're interested in pop culture
On this channel,
check it out. She's usually on audio only because it's a little bit early for you.
I'm the producer for that show, that's why.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think about that, though? We've been kind of calling, they kind of fired all their really good animators and everything else. Now they're starting to bring them back. And I said they should have had them mentor these new DEI hires that they brought into Disney.
Yes, because what Disney did was essentially fire anybody that was male and white and knew anything about what they were trying to do, and then just brought in a bunch of different people from all places.
Okay, and if anybody has any comments throughout the night, just type them in and we will read them out. We're pretty good at reading them out through the show.
Yes.
On all of our shows. We do have a Spanish channel as well called Nat and the Guy in Espanol. That's our primary channel.
Yes.
So we're trying to build up this channel as well, but it's kind of hard because we do broadcast out of Mexico City, and it seems to really want to try to broadcast us within Mexico, but once in a while it will kind of catch on in other countries.
Yes.
And the sun is sitting in some of these cities I'm seeing now. Austin, it looks like it is sitting, but Austin's been pretty quiet all day. San Antonio had a big gathering in the center square, but it wasn't like LA or New York where the streets were filled and the big courtyards and center squares and things like that. So.
Every so often I'll check if it's live or not.
And there was a little bit of violence early in Philadelphia, and we do have one of our regular viewers that was actually supposed to be in Philadelphia.
So hopefully not. He didn't go in the end, hopefully, but still waiting to hear back from him.
One of the big clips of the day did kind of come out of San Antonio. Or sorry, not San Antonio, Philadelphia, and it wasn't any violence or anything. It was that old lady that said, "Oh, I'm just so scared. I'm so scared. I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. Why did they vote for that man? Why did they vote for that man?"
The brainwashed lady.
Yeah, the brainwashed lady. It was just absolutely insane. Okay. Do you got anything, or are you just going to kind of sit there? You're low energy on me today.
Well, I'm trying to see if anything's happening, but not really.
Yeah, let's just focus. Why don't you bring up the stories so we can kind of talk about the stories here?
Because I can't.
Did you see the clip of Justin Bieber yesterday?
No.
So he was going a little bit crazy as well. Paparazzis were kind of following him around. He says he's not having it. He's a father. He's a husband. This is
That
ridiculous.
was a very long time ago. Unless he did it again.
Yeah, he did it again.
Oh.
So there's not much he can do to stop him. So if he just would stop throwing these temper tantrums, that would be the best thing. He keeps saying they're trying to provoke him, but he should be used to it by now. His whole life, these paparazzis have kind of followed him around.
But at the same time, he's had a really hard life. So
He's had a hard life.
A lot of kids don't learn how to cope with those kinds of things.
He has not had a hard life at all. He's made millions of dollars off of this and everything else. He's had about the furthest thing from a hard life. Now, things may have happened to him with.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So some sad things, but.
And that can destabilize you, as has happened to a lot of people in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how much money you have if you were thrust into that.
And maybe let's talk about these riots protests a little bit. We'll try to keep it PG as we can for YouTube. But the rhetoric you're seeing on the street, the fact that Donald Trump hasn't called this an insurrection to have special powers or anything like that. It's really good on him so far. Mm-hmm. We did see the ending of 2 politicians' lives today.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that a little bit? You know better than I do, and you're better at minding your words than I am.
I have to find the article. Hold on.
Okay.
So I don't have it.
So the suspect that was suspected of taking the two politicians' lives in Minnesota today had a bunch of No Kings flyers in his car. He was also appointed by Tim Walz. Tim Walz is, I believe, the governor of Minnesota. He was Kamala Harris's running mate. The Democrats are trying to frame this as a far-right lunatic. That's not the case. All the evidence so far at least points that he has strong ties to the Democratic Party and Democratic causes through different NGOs and the protests going on today. So
yes. So unfortunately, now officials have named a suspect in the ending of these two lives. They say they targeted two lawmakers and their homes in Minnesota, ending one state representative and her husband, and wounding a state senator and his wife, who I believe were in surgery up to recently.
And maybe we'll come back to it. We got a couple comments, and then we'll come back to the article.
Sure. So Rafa says, hello, Rafa. Thank you. I'm still working on getting back to you, but I will. It's half written. Rafa says, hello, happy Saturday, and also says, where is your friend Facts Are Good? I mean Walker. I'm guessing out doing something else.
Yeah, and we didn't kind of know what time we were going to actually come on. Things started ramping up maybe an hour ago, slightly, especially in LA. They were popping a lot of tear gas, a lot of smoke, a lot of rocks being thrown. It kind of calmed down a little bit, but we figured this was a good time to come on. But we had no forewarning, so hopefully people will trickle into the room after a while.
Yes.
Good thing you didn't go to Philadelphia this weekend.
Hopefully,
it's
I don't know.
looking like it's kind of ramping up there as well.
Yes.
Okay, why don't you continue with the article a little bit?
Okay, so Democratic State Representative Melissa Hortman, former State House Speaker, and her husband Mark were ended in their home in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, early Saturday morning by a man impersonating a police officer. Earlier in a separate incident just miles away in Champlin, Minnesota, Democratic State Senator John Hoffman and his wife were tried to be ended and wounded at their home. Hoffman is believed to be in stable condition in a hospital at this moment, and there are no updates on his wife. And now, according to authorities, the suspect officials are still seeking, I'll update it if they find him, is 57-year-old Vance Bolter, who has connections to at least tangential ones or suspected ones to Tim Walz, who is the governor of Minnesota, and also Kamala Harris's ex-running mate.
Let's pause for a second. We didn't talk about the motivations. I kind of skipped over that. But both of those senators went up against the Democratic Party and voted against free Medicare for illegal immigrants. And that's what these were the two senators that kind of voted outside of the party, and supposedly this is what set this gentleman off, or this is what is suspected to have set this gentleman off with the ending of these two people's lives.
Well, one was a representative, one was a senator, but yes. The person still alive is the senator. Yes. And they were talking about a possible manifesto of sorts from this person that committed these crimes, but I believe none has really been released or spoken about further. Apparently he was also planning to target others, other representatives, maybe other senators, but who knows why.
Yeah.
And they did find No Kings flyers in his car, but again, they didn't look too well made, let's just say.
Yeah, but there was a stack of them, so it's not like he just got one on the street. It looks like potentially ready to distribute these out and things like this, or post them up on light poles and things like that. That being said, a lot of these protests were canceled today, specifically in Florida, but all around the nation, because there wasn't a big enough turnout, but there were huge turnouts in these sanctuary cities, number one. It was kind of good in these red states. There wasn't these turnouts because the police weren't going to be messing around. They had real bullets, not like in LA and these other cities where they had rubber bullets. So that's good to see, because then you're not going to have a martyr or anything like that kind of emerge out of this.
Well, there was an incident that happened in Florida where a man called 911 alleging that there was a family dispute or family emergency and a person was threatening to end himself, I'll just put it that way. And when police arrived, two police officers responded to the scene, and they were ambushed by a man with a pew-pew coming out of the woods or the bushes, and they were able to terminate him, I'll just say. But it seems like it was a planned ambush of at least some police in Florida.
Yeah. And what is that top screen there?
Which one?
The center top screen.
I don't know. It has no label. So
Yeah, I
don't
know. But I'm thinking that maybe that's San Antonio. Well,
Because San Antonio's
I'm just using my basic
There.
reasoning by how dark it is to figure out what city these are. So the West Coast cities are still going to be daylight right now. So the East Coast cities are definitely going to be nighttime, and the middle of the country, I'm not sure. That's kind of where we're at. So maybe it would be dark as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we seen yesterday, if we're looking at the Philadelphia feed here, that the police were using their bikes kind of as battering rams or weapons to kind of move the crowd back. I would expect to see kind of the same tactics, at least in Philadelphia, but it definitely seems like more of a liability to have your bikes there. It would be better just to not have bikes because they can get taken. You can get driven into a tug of war and things like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm just checking if there's been anything else happening elsewhere. Not really.
And what do we have an LA feed? Maybe we'll just go to an LA feed for a little while and then play a little bit of sound.
You want sound?
Yeah, we'll play a little bit of sound so we don't have to constantly talk. It's easier to constantly talk yesterday when we were going to bring up articles on the screen. Today, we're not going to do that. So once in a while, we'll play sound for some of these feeds, especially if things start popping off. Although it's pretty quiet here, and this does look like LA. I used to live in LA, so this is definitely
that
LA.
is LA.
The one building was the
A
courthouse.
hope is being placed that the 8 p.m. curfew will actually cause folks to leave the area because, keep in mind, at 4:30, a dispersal
Okay,
order
and this
was
is what they're
issued.
really talking about on the news stations in LA is this 8 p.m. curfew. It's worked all week since they implemented it on Monday. We've seen what happened the first few days. There was mass violence in LA. It was the most violent of all the protests. Since the curfew and the military rolled in, they've had this thing under control. The question is, tonight, is the curfew going to work? Are people going to obey?
And I believe in LA they were trying a tactic where they were trying to split up protests to go through two different streets. The police was, and I believe they were pretty successful at it.
Yeah, they've put dozens and dozens of police in the hospital in LA, and they put 5 horses in the hospital as well. So, or at least
That's the saddest part.
yeah.
Oh, that one's ended. Goodbye.
Okay, let's go to another feed here. Let's see if we got some better sound on this one.
We went right to where we were. So it just switched now, and this is in San Antonio, but we don't want that sound.
Maybe let's play this one for a little bit. This sounds fine.
It's the helicopter.
Okay.
You want to hear that?
No, but a lot more people are going to have pew-pews and things like that in San Antonio.
Sure.
So San Antonio looked a lot more calm than Los Angeles and Chicago. Los Angeles and Chicago and New York were the 3 major cities I would expect things to escalate tonight if they do. San Antonio, though, if it does escalate, I think the level of violence is going to be much more because they're much more liberal
Pew pew.
firearms laws within that state, the state of Texas. That's where San Antonio is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the multiple feed. And I'm still wondering what that top box is there. Because there is quite a few people in that city doing this march.
I'm trying to see if I can read a street sign, but it says Taqueria what?
I'm guessing that might be San Antonio.
Doesn't say. Yeah, because that other shot is from the air, so.
Okay, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about Los Angeles here. Los Angeles boarded up businesses.
Yeah, it's Austin, because I saw
it is Austin.
something on the wall.
Okay, and Austin is the most liberal city in Texas. It's the only, it's the major city within Texas that's extremely liberal. Although Dallas did have
Yeah.
big protests today. So,
Dallas, Austin, and San Antonio, which are the bigger cities, are.
But Austin is liberally crazy. They've moved the tech sector and everything into there. House prices shot through the roof. A lot of people are expected to go back into the office now. So actually that city is currently having a fall off. I just watched a documentary yesterday about the rise and fall of San Antonio. Elon Musk bought up a ton of property within San Antonio as well and moved a lot of his businesses and headquarters to San Antonio.
And there's more graffiti appearing in LA, but.
Okay, yeah. With the article I was going to read, all these articles I had clipped, we had X's for, but I just kind of want to stay on the feed tonight. But Los Angeles boarded up businesses declares that it is on these boarded up businesses, they're writing Mexican-owned business, so nobody will kind of mess with the business. We've seen the similar tactics in the BLM riots where they would spray paint black-owned business, so hopefully the rioters wouldn't go into the business as well.
And it looks like, coming from Andy No, Antifa rioters in Portland have surrounded the local ICE building facility and are preventing first responders from helping someone with a medical emergency inside. The person with the medical emergency might actually be a migrant. So.
And one of the hard places to get a feed from was Portland. Mm-hmm. There is a ton of Antifa in Portland, and they will dox anybody that's in the crowd. They will get physically violent with anybody they don't think is pro-immigrant reporter or something like that. If they think you're a Trump-supporting reporter, a traditionalist, or a Republican, they're going to go after you, specifically in Portland. We've seen some conservative reporters within New York, but they seem to be fairly fine in the daytime. Mm-hmm. People were saying don't talk to you, but they weren't getting violent.
Yeah, so I was watching Nick Shirley, who is another independent reporter. I kind of lost track of him for the rest of the day. I don't know if he kept streaming, but he was going around DC and interviewing a lot of people. In the protests, eventually some crazy lunatics found him and started following him around, saying you don't have the right to speak to people, but mostly unscathed in DC during the daytime. That's the thing.
And again, what's the name of this channel that we're watching?
So it's called Starship Adventures.
So this is Starship Adventures. The gentleman that's running the channel is a retired fire chief. He has a channel, and so does his wife and son. But he's doing a pretty good job all week long with this channel, so he hasn't been getting a lot of sleep. He got a little bit more last night because it was a little quiet, so good on him. If we do shut off at any point, definitely go to his channel because it's good. Why don't we turn on the sound for a little bit so people kind of get an idea of what he does with the police scanners.
It's code 2736, RD 1211.
On 233 and a half West 70th Street, 2734
Okay, you can hit the sound now.
And apparently 6 minutes ago, a riot was declared in Portland as Antifa attacked the government building, the ICE government building, again, as part of the whole No Kings anti-Trump protest.
Yeah, so this is the first major protest, and it's going to be interesting, the stark contrast between all these different cities. We're having minor skirmishes all day, but especially last weekend, any cities that did have protests, they got extremely violent. And we seen the military parade today. Tens of thousands of people came out to that thing, and it was completely peaceful. So they're going to try to make a narrative that anytime there's a large group, there's going to be violence, stuff like this. That's not the case. It didn't happen in Washington, D.C. with the parade today. Now, I do realize that's a different environment, but I do know a typical talking point from progressives is, well, you can't blame the whole group for a couple of people getting violent. But that's exactly what they did to the right, and the right evolved their protests. The last real violent protest the right had was January 6th, and it kind of paled in comparison to these protests as far as violence goes.
You might anger some people saying that.
That's fine. That being said, after that protest, the right started policing their own protests. So we've seen the truckers convoy within Canada. That thing was the model for kind of conservative protests to take, and they did. Tommy Robinson had nationalistic protests within Great Britain, and he hired full security staffs and had people come out that were going to monitor the crowd to make sure there wasn't any violence. If anybody was having any violent rhetoric, they would immediately ask them to leave the protest and kick them out. Same thing happened in Canada. And that was kind of the model that conservative protests took over the last few years after January 6th. These progressive liberal protests just tend to get violent almost every
And
single
have
time.
continued to escalate as well.
And why can't they learn? Why can't they do the same that the right's doing?
Because to them, that's part of it. That's protesting, causing chaos, and showing the man something.
And I think the only people watching are me, you, and Rafa right now.
It goes up and down. Because
Oh,
again, like at least right now, there's not much going on, honestly.
Yeah. Why don't we just see if there's another stream and we'll check what's going on over there. Well, hold on. What's that big?
Oh.
Oh.
This?
Yeah, I just want to see
We
for a
got
second.
paused.
Okay.
There's people
let's
on the street.
continue to go. Let's stay on this gentleman's channel. What's this gentleman's channel again?
So this guy's called Matt Morse TV. Oh, I can't show it.
And
but-
you've kind of been watching him all day. He's had really good,
Yes.
a really good feed. If you do want sound, he plays the sound from each newscast, so it's pretty good.
and then talks for a while. And then
He's mainly covering Los Angeles, I've noticed.
Yes.
I
This
think he's
is-
based out of Los Angeles.
this is Los Angeles. People are throwing some stuff. Oh no, it's people are waving flags.
If we start to see cars burning, bonfires in the street, garbage cans getting lit on fire, that's when you know it's on. So if we just see some tear gas from the police, that's them kind of just trying to get the protesters herded into the area they want.
Crowd
So
control.
once curfew hits, they're going to be able to arrest them as a group. The protesters, if they want to resist, are going to want to break off into smaller groups, go all over the city. But it's going to be hard because there is a curfew they can enforce and arrest you on site. Oh, it's a Mexican parade.
Once again, I'll say most of those people are not real Mexicans, but
Well, that guy on the doing the wheelie there has to be.
probably the kid of a Mexican.
Let's play a little bit of the sound if we can. It might just be the helicopter though. Oh, no.
You at all
Let's listen to these people for a
after
while.
the protest changed.
Turn it up if you can.
It does not surprise me because we see this
So
happening
flashbangs are being
continuously, that
deployed at
people who are there
protesters,
for
apparently.
a legitimate purpose of a legitimate protest on a cause that they believe and they want to show their disdain and their concern, and it was peaceful in many areas, including the San Fernando Valley, which I was at the location on Topanga Canyon in Victory, where they had a large group, where they were protesting in a lawful manner. What we see happening now as we get closer to the curfew time downtown, we have these people who are coming in there simply to cause trouble, to cause problems, and to agitate and have confrontation with the police.
I mean,
Many
they
of
just
them
keep
get
trying to
arrested
play it down
because
as these
what
are
they're
peaceful
serving-
protests. These are peaceful protests. All week long, they weren't peaceful protests. Even when they weren't that violent, every single night there was some level of violence. And in the first couple days, I think it was 8 days ago now, there was massive violence in LA.
And also, I do know for at least that chunk of it, an unlawful assembly was declared in Los Angeles about an hour ago now.
Oh, an hour ago. Okay.
Yeah, that's how they got them to disperse in the first place.
And what time is it now here in Mexico City?
8:36.
8:36. So 25 minutes. That's going to be 8 o'clock in Los Angeles. Again, we are broadcasting out of Mexico City live. These are the riots going on across the nation in the U.S. We are expecting something major to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'll be pretty surprised, but we usually don't stream on Saturdays. This is our first time, so welcome if this is your first time watching us.
Also, it seems like in Seattle, a lot more violence is happening or happened at least 2 to 3 hours ago. But again, there's no real live coverage except for the journalists that are on the ground there. I do know Andy No has a lot of interesting information coming from both Portland and Seattle. Not that he's there himself, but he's showcasing footage from independent reporters that are on the ground.
And does have a lot of resources on the ground in
Yes.
the northwest part of the country as well.
And regarding Antifa and
Yeah.
their antics. Apparently, there was a pew pew boom boom in Utah 2 minutes ago.
So a firearms, we can't say firearms,
can't say
correct?
firearms?
Yeah, I would assume so.
Okay.
There was a firearms situation in San Antonio, you said?
Utah.
Utah. Okay, that's pretty interesting.
Or at least,
And we've seen this happen in Los Angeles too. There was an incident with actual firearms that the protesters possessed. The problem was in LA, the police only have non-lethal means they're authorized to use. So they're shooting rubber bullets and tear gas at 3 suspects that were shooting real firearms. This was a few days ago now.
So
It
yeah,
made national news.
So in Utah, apparently protesters run for cover as GUNFIRE or Boom Booms have just started breaking out at the mass gathering in Salt Lake City.
And it's still early in the night, so the fact that violence like this is already breaking out.
And it's just like it's not confirmed. It's
Yeah.
just I'm just reading what pops up first.
Because I've been watching these protests all day. We only went kind of live at night because this is when we're expecting something may happen. But it started out very small protests. A lot of them got canceled, like we said. And then in the big sanctuary cities, there were mass gatherings. So as the day went on, the gatherings got big. When they hit a capacity within each city, that's when we started to see little skirmishes between the police and the protesters, but mainly tear gas, rubber bullets, and rocks being thrown. Today, at least, I haven't seen these pallets of bricks, these massive amounts of Molotov cocktails, or at least not yet. So,
And also regarding the unaliving of the representative from Minnesota and the senator, Minnesota authorities have announced that they will not release the manifesto.
yeah.
But that means there probably was a manifesto.
And I will be repeating myself a lot throughout the night because it's quite a long stream. And I'm going to be mainly focusing on the protest. We do have a few stories we'll go over just to kind of break things up. And the places where people are marching are more likely to get violent than where they have them herded into a group. Because when what they try to do is they block off certain streets and then they herd them one way and then they kind of stop the group and then they'll arrest the entire group as it gets later. Because a lot of these cities do have curfews, very specifically Los Angeles. The situation with Gavin Newsom was pretty interesting that happened over the last couple days. Gavin Newsom was expected to get control of the National Guard in California. Donald Trump had originally called the National Guard into action in California. Gavin Newsom didn't like that, so he got a court to side with him that a temporary injunction would give him control over the National Guard rather than Donald Trump. Donald Trump was able to get a secondary injunction that overrid the first injunction from Gavin Newsom, so Trump is actually still in control of the National Guard within Los Angeles. So I think Gavin Newsom, if he would have got control, was going to get the National Guard to stand down, which would have escalated things, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm just monitoring news.
Yeah, no problem.
Etc.
And the crowd in Philadelphia is looking fairly sparse there, at least as of right now. Okay, let's go to an individual feed. Maybe if we can get the mainstream media and see their commentary.
Oh, that was a chopper, so.
They're going to talk about how this is peaceful protest, blah, 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 but...
This is in Los Angeles.
Okay, this is a good feed. Let's stay here. I'm hearing rubber bullets and stuff being fired.
And I believe what's going over the speakers is unlawful assembly, please disperse. Or just disperse. I don't know if they say please. In Canada, they say please.
And again, if anybody has any comments throughout the night, feel free to share them. We usually have a nightly news show Monday through Friday where we cover the headlines of the day.
Yes.
This is a special broadcast. We're expecting that there may be major violence in the United States tonight, so we're monitoring it. we went on last night, but it was half news, half this. Tonight, it's primarily going to be all coverage of the protests in the United States.
And monitoring what's going on
Yeah.
elsewhere. So LA has got less than 20 minutes before curfew, so I'm guessing also that's why they're ramping up presence and unlawful assembly.
Okay, that's good. Our mics are good. I was just checking if the broadcast was overwhelming our mics, but they're not, so we can definitely talk over this.
I can lower the volume a bit
No,
more.
no, the volume's good there because it'll keep the crowd entertained if we decide not to talk for a little while. The crowd being me, you, and probably Rafa right now.
And I think it's just you and I.
The other day, there was a lot more interest in this. We'll see what happens tonight because the Iranian coverage is really flooding the mainstream
Yes.
media. I think what happened the other day was the mainstream media coverage was on the protest, so people started going onto YouTube looking for coverage. And again, as far as the this Iranian situation seems to really be ramping up, and I hope the United States kind of lets Israel deal with it on their own and keeps their business on their own affairs. But we'll see what happens.
Should I try to see if I can find like the other side of this? Because they're behind police lines.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm
This
gonna
is
use the
press.
bathroom real quick. So
Okay. Oh, sorry. And then I still have this sound. Let's see what they're saying
We
here.
can
So
go back
this
to
is
normalcy next week.
from the
And
other
Los
side,
Angeles
I
County
believe.
District Attorney Nathan Hochman, as you mentioned, Dennis, has made it abundantly clear that he plans to prosecute anyone arrested, whether it be simply
I believe the other guy
violating
was
curfew,
kind of
failing to
around
disperse,
here
or some more serious charges.
from
And Dennis, I don't
behind the
know if you
police
heard,
line,
but
and now we're
LA County
seeing
Sheriff's Department
from
has
the
confirmed
air.
that at least one deputy has already
But again,
been
they are
injured.
looking a lot sparser than the past few days. Of course, in Los Angeles, again, with the, well, we see some fireworks there, which they have been throwing at police and at each other, kind of, throughout the whole week. But because of the order to disperse, because of the unlawful assembly, and also the curfew, and the state of emergency finally declared by Karen Bass a few days ago, I'm guessing most people might stay away, and then we'll see more of the ones that want to cause chaos and rioters further into the night around
we'll know,
11 p.m. Los Angeles.
We'll know by around 10:30, 11 o'clock Los Angeles time if that's going to get violent. Really, by around 9:30, we're going to see if these people actually disperse. If they don't disperse, I would expect things to really amp up throughout the night. If one city's going to burn, it's going to be Los Angeles. Oh, okay, what's going on here?
So this is from the ground, from what we were just watching in the air. We do see a small contingent of protesters there on the right-hand side. We're behind police lines right now, where the cameraman is. And what we were seeing were some fireworks being shot when we were looking at it from the air. But it's just a strip of the street. I don't believe they're taking up the whole street anymore. They've been able to corral them kind of towards one side. And that would be the right-hand side on this particular feed.
And I used to live in Los Angeles. Now we live in Mexico City, but generally at nighttime, Los Angeles is a pretty dead city. It's really all businesses and stuff down there. People, for the most part, don't live down there. Magic Johnson has been investing tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in trying to get investment to change the nightlife of Los Angeles. That's why now you see a few restaurants and stuff, but there is not a lot of residential in downtown LA, so it's normally pretty quiet.
So they're looking up, so I'm guessing they're throwing fireworks. Because all their gazes kind of went up. Should we see from the chopper if we
Yeah,
see
let's
anything
check from the
more
chopper.
interesting? So yeah, I think that was the fireworks that they had been throwing around. Oh, look.
People, who've done nothing wrong. They live in that area.
Oh, there's someone
because
up.
of whatever reason. They're close to work. They like the downtown
Everybody's
area,
looking up
the
for some
environment.
reason.
But this disrupts many, many people. And that's the sad part, is there's disruption to good, legitimate, law-abiding citizens. It's not necessary. As we see the
Oh, there's a
officers
person there.
that are in their skirmish line, they're getting ready
Where?
to confront,
There.
and they'll be moving.
That's a cameraman,
We
it
know
looks
we've
like,
got a lot
isn't
of
it?
traffic going
There's a
at
bunch
this
of people,
particular
but they're all
time.
Well,
looking up.
that looks like
Magic hour
residential
goes
patio, though.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
They're
But
gonna
then why
lock
is
that
everybody
area
looking
down,
up at
and
them?
People who haven't left are all going to get taken
Maybe
off
they
those
threw
buses.
down something
And
to see.
Dennis, I was live in Little Tokyo yesterday, and we talked about the businesses closing. They were closed as of yesterday, closed and boarded up. We're talking about banks, small businesses, restaurants, mom and pop shops, the Japanese American Cultural Center, the Japanese
I'm trying to
American
figure out what that is.
Museum there. And we watched, and I spoke to several tourists that were visiting Los Angeles from Japan precisely. They had come to Little Tokyo, and they were taking pictures of the boarded up businesses and the messages that were posted to any possible people wanting to create civil unrest or hurt their businesses. The messages basically said, please respect, we're immigrants.
And it looks like they have the
too.
helicopter camera
One
in the
message
corner.
was,
Oh,
you know,
they
our
just took it off.
great-grandparents, our grandparents were
Do you
in
want
the
me to go to
Japanese
the-
internment camps. And so please don't
Yep,
hurt
and if
our
anybody's
business.
watching live, if you could hit the like button, that would help us out. We're going to be on here for quite a while. We're a smaller channel, so the more likes we have, the more likely YouTube is to recommend us into the algorithm. We are also broadcasting live from Mexico City, so it's kind of hard to get an English-speaking audience, but this is kind of U.S.-based politics or protests, so hopefully they do push us out to a U.S. audience tonight.
Trying to figure out, listen, why everybody's so fixated on that building. Oh. Oh my god. What's my mouse doing? There.
And that looks like a brand new building that was just built. I don't see actually any curtains in the windows either yet, so maybe nobody's supposed to be in the building. I don't know. There does seem to be a lot of attention on that building, though. And we have seen a lot of these camera people downtown. It was very interesting. It's live streamers and things like that with, what do you call it? Not SpaceX, but Starlink satellite systems, portable satellite systems in their back on top of their backpacks. So that's how they're able to get signal. A lot of the other streamers that were streaming directly from their cell phone said there was too many people downtown today, so their signal kept cutting out. Oh, there's a GIMP Santa Claus, it looks like. Pulp Fiction Holiday Edition. And thank you for the like, whoever just gave us a like. I do appreciate it.
Yes.
Hopefully we can get to 10 likes tonight.
And
Okay, there's quite a gathering here. So it looks like we have a skirmish line of protesters, the skirmish line of police, and media or people that are filming behind the police.
So I still don't know why they were all looking up at that building. That's what I'm trying to figure out right now.
Oh, that's
but-
okay. I think the building situation is done now.
And Rafa says, have you seen anything from Philadelphia? We were talking about that.
Yeah, there was the big propaganda piece of the day was like an 80 or 90-year-old woman basically crying her eyes out saying she's scared. This is crazy. She doesn't know why people are wanting to be mean against other people. Why did they vote for that man? Why did they vote for that man? And the liberal media is absolutely loving that clip. And they're playing it nonstop on different stations and things like that. So I expect you'll probably see that at some point, but I believe that was from Philadelphia. I originally looked at the clip because it said Philadelphia, and I realized Rafa was supposed to be there.
Yes.
So,
So it looks like they're just
And-
going back and forth.
and I also did see at a lot of the protests in the morning, they were passing out free American flags. So they were trying to get the protesters to have American flags rather than Mexican flags because the imagery that had been going on all week, there are talking points of this being a Mexican insurrection. At least that's what a lot of people are calling it. I don't see it that way, but that's why they are wanting to have more American flags in the crowd. So it looks more like these people are a little bit patriotic.
Yes. And here's Philadelphia down here. But again, it's mostly just been shots of officers
Oh, I'm
Camera
wondering
shots.
what that may look like Austin right there to me. Actually, I'm guessing. The top corner, there's quite a
Top
few.
right corner.
Top right corner, there's quite a lot of protesters there. And it's just dusk, so dusk would indicate to me somewhere in the middle of the country. Okay, let's go to. Oh, hold on. There's Philadelphia on the bottom corner there. I'm just watching it now.
And I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, are you having any more news coming on X?
No.
No? Okay. This is actually so far a lot quieter than I thought it would be.
It's as quiet as I thought it was.
If I did ramp up, I thought it would happen at around 11 o'clock at in whatever location they're in. So
because
obviously
we do see like a few skirmishes
there's a
here
skirmish
and there,
right
like
there.
here, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's mostly kind of what it's been.
Yeah, but it's under control. It's had all week for
Yes.
them to plan for this thing.
I was going to say in Seattle and Portland, we have seen a lot more force being shown on both sides. They try to rush the ICE government building, and they got kind of pushed back. They've also been a lot more violent just with passerbys and independent reporters from what I've been seeing. So, but it was always kind of expected for Seattle and Portland to get rowdy because that's kind of the birthplace of Antifa. And being from Vancouver, we're well aware. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
and
monitor
whatever
all of
city
them.
that is in the top right corner actually does have a large crowd. So that's one of the larger crowds.
But they, for example, there I would say they are mostly peaceful.
Yeah. A lot of these crowds, like we're seeing in the top right corner, that's actually a large crowd. A lot of these cities aren't having large crowds, especially Los Angeles right now. There is a lot of people in Los Angeles, but they're beginning to disperse into smaller groups if they want to mount some kind of resistance here because the curfew is coming up. And if the curfew hits and they're in one large group, it's going to be easy to round them all up.
They have 5 minutes before curfew starts.
Okay, why don't we go to an individual feed right now, and just so we can listen to some audio because I'm a little bit quiet.
So here they're still standing outside that one building. I want something that's beyond police lines. Oh, chopper. Do you want to see the chopper?
Yeah, we'll stay with the chopper for a little while, actually. Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
they're-
peacefully
just play the
marching up and
audio.
down the street,
Okay.
and then the incident happening in downtown Los Angeles. Now, I believe we're looking at Pico and Flower there. A lot of traffic, the train going by, and earlier, Justin Mario Ramirez was talking about the Metro line yesterday at the Little Tokyo station. There were posters all over and at the bus stops, and they basically said safety on them. They were blue, and they'd been put up, and it said, "For your safety, Metro will not be operating in this area tomorrow." And then it gave various alternate routes, alternate
Okay, so that's
buses or
interesting. They're not
trains that
going to
people
operate
could take
Metro in some of
in
these
the
areas,
Little
which is
Tokyo,
probably a good
downtown
idea.
Los Angeles area.
And
So
also,
there
I
you
do have
see
an
a
update
Metro
from
train going by. I
Utah,
believe
Salt
you're
Lake. So
looking
police in
at
Salt Lake.
Pico
Let me
and
shut her up for a bit. Police in Salt Lake City are investigating Pew Pew at the No Kings protest that left one person in critical condition. A person of interest is in custody, and the victim has been transported to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Officers are urging protesters to leave the area safely and calmly. So that might actually also bring that one down.
And
get an
the incident this news reporter is talking about, I believe, was in the
injuries, if they are
Rampart
indeed
district,
severe. That's what Los
and there was a
Angeles
major
County Sheriff's
major
deputy
skirmish
has
between
suffered,
protesters
in
throwing
downtown Los Angeles. As we
concrete blocks
continue,
at
to
the
see what is
police, and the
happening.
police
I'd like to go
firing
back to the
tear
shot of
gas
Mario
and rubber
Ramirez,
bullets
if
back.
that's
So.
available, back on the ground.
And a lot of
Mario
the protests, the
Ramirez,
smaller ones,
photographer,
because they kept
has
saying,
been
oh,
in
it's
the thick of all
2,000
of this.
plus
As
protests, but a lot of them
those lethal
had very
rounds
low
were being
turnout, 4 to
fired,
5
you see
people.
police
We've
there
been
with
seeing
those
images
green
coming up
rifles.
of just
Those
a
are
few
less
people
lethal
standing there without
form.
much else to
Basically,
do.
they're
Yeah, I
shooting
think
off
there was
foam
so much violence on the
projectiles or
first 3
launching
days.
foam
A lot of the
projectiles.
moderate
I
people that would have came
understand,
out
Mario, those
decided
projectiles
not
can go
to.
as
Now,
far
that
as
being
close as
said,
10 feet away
they
and
were
as
supposed to have
far away
thousands
as
of protests across the nation. That ended up not happening. It turned into a couple big protests in sanctuary cities. And those big protests were fairly big, like the one in Dallas was
Maybe let's
big.
see what he's saying about the building.
So yeah, sorry about that. If you can,
Yes,
if
we
you
can
can
hear
hear
you
me,
now,
we
Mario.
at one
Thank you.
point thought these officers here were going to start shooting at the balcony here of the Perla on Broadway, modern condos at the corner of the intersection. We've been watching this group that has been moved from First to Fourth here on Broadway, and it looks like the majority of the group, the hundreds that we had just a short time ago, have now dispersed. But LAPD officers moved the remaining media on this side of the street because people were at one point throwing objects from that condo building onto the street, and there was concern that somebody
And what
could
I
get
would be
injured.
concerned
So,
about
you all
in
had
Los
mentioned
Angeles, again, because I used to live there, is it looks like all the forces are focused really on downtown with the daytime protests, where if these things break up and people disperse into the residential areas, because LA is so spread out, it's going to be really hard to handle some of this. So I would kind of watch that for later tonight. People may not be starting as... Oh, what is this? San Antonio. Can we turn it up or no?
It is up.
Oh.
It is up.
We're not going to do it no more.
Attacking the local news station.
And San Antonio.
Well, they did something to them because she's mad. And she's a local news station reporter. I'm trying to listen to what they're saying.
I can't even hear anything.
I can hear you now, Darian.
You don't hear that?
No,
She just said, "I can hear you now, Derek."
yeah, very tiny. It's very low.
Lost a shot.
Your things might be too low.
Oh, it's in the other earphone. Only one. It's only coming through one earphone on that particular broadcast.
We're trying to help you.
And San Antonio
What was that?
had a moderate-sized group today, but they were fairly peaceful all day. So I'm not expecting anything major coming out of San Antonio tonight, but I could be wrong.
Don't turn on the light to them the last second because they'll come over.
What was that? Like, I don't want to end up in the newspaper with my photo.
It's like if
She's
I
in the
was
sun in
a,
the middle of the street. These cars aren't going to hit her.
it's as if I was a reporter.
Well, we did that with you one day,
Yeah.
and you kept messing it up just like her. We went to
Thank
the
you.
we went to the feminist march here in Mexico City, actually. And again, I was trying to get you to stand in front of the group just like this.
And they were coming right at me. I didn't notice until after I saw the footage how close they got.
Oh, here they come.
I can't hear anything.
Does she know she's live?
Coming.
YouTubers
15.
do.
She didn't really need that light, but
Oh, now they're coming.
it's making her look like a ghost. He's trying to tell them, don't go, don't go.
MAGA, go Trump. MAGA, go Trump. Happy birthday, Arnie.
Oh, San Antonio.
Don't cut it. We are here at the Alamo where this wall unfolded on Wednesday. As you can see, many people have came over here now. Sorry, this is live television, so we can't help the cursing that is going on here.
Yes,
but
sorry about
we are
that,
being
too.
swarmed by everyone that is here today. Lots of people here. This looks like this was the crowd that came over from Travis
Venezuela.
Park. We're
He's
not
trying to use
sure.
camera and
Back to you
security.
guys.
Oh no.
Oh, come on
Come
now.
on. It was there. It's them because they're still live.
So
Should I
he got
look for
bumped, so
something else?
maybe one of the buttons got
Yeah.
bumped as well.
Okay, let's quickly move to somewhere else. Okay,
Let's
so
go
LA,
to-
they're still at that
Let's go
building.
to all the feeds really quick. Wait, we're
No.
back to that? Where was that?
Same place.
Oh, Los
'Cause,
Angeles. Yeah, that's
with
that
our
restaurant. Okay, let's go to the live feeds here. Who's pink hair up there?
this
Okay,
is
what do we
live
got here?
again.
Trump.
Trump trader. I can't say the last word. Lots of upside down U.S. flags. Haven't seen that many being burnt today. Guessing this is LA with horse police.
Yeah, a lot
Police
of
on
them, a lot of
horses.
MAGA supporters, me being one of them, is not happy with Trump right now in this Iran situation. How he seems to be sending aircraft carriers and things like that rather than pulling out of wars and not starting wars.
Mm-hmm.
He also came out with a statement stating that this was the plan all along, and he was just trying to lure Iran into false peace talks in order to have them let their guard down so then Israel could hit them, which now nobody's going to trust negotiation talks with the U.S. from here forward. Some speculation on that is Israel went behind Trump's back, and he just wants to look like he's in control of the situation, so he's saying he knew about it the whole time.
There was a Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, No King's Day protest,
what?
which was ridiculous.
That's where
we lived in Vancouver.
We were living there for about 10 years before we moved down here to Mexico City.
Yeah, I'm Mexican. I'm from Mexico City.
Of course, because they had BLM protests up there too, and there's like.
But in Toronto, I believe they also had. They were slightly bigger, but they were still tiny. It was about 25 people in Vancouver, but I mean, they got the Vancouver Sun to write about them, so congratulations.
Oh, and that whatever city's in the middle there, they were obviously passing out American flags all day.
Which one in the? Oh, that one.
That has to be Los Angeles because it's still daylight. At least it looks daylight to me.
Or it could be Portland, Seattle, somewhere in Oregon.
Yeah. No, that's Los Angeles because I've seen a California flag with the bear in the background.
Don't know where, but okay.
Right there, straight ahead. See that red strip of red?
California.
That's the California bear flag.
It might be another city in California
No.
as well.
Oh yeah, it could be, but I would assume that looks like LA. Because LA has had the biggest turnout, and that's the largest civilian crowd we're seeing right now. Now, if they do herd everybody into one section, like it looks in that top middle box, it does have a potential to get violent because they are past curfew as of 5 minutes ago, and they do have the right to be arrested. So it's going to be interesting.
But it could also be just them all converging because they were trying to move them towards different streets and stuff. So maybe they're converging to leave, I want to think.
The police are kind of converging them all so they can make mass arrests.
And also in Portland, officers were injured as Portland riders breach ICE building with explosives and rocks. That's about a minute ago. There's still not much about the stuff that happened in Salt Lake City. I was there last year, recently.
And can we change the name of the stream or no?
To what? I don't know if we can.
Oh, okay.
I'd have to move away from this. What do you want to name it?
Live U.S. riot protest coverage rather than No Kings. I think a lot of people actually, even though me and you know, because we were kind of geared up for this all week, a lot of people don't know it's called the No Kings riot. I don't think they even.
You want me to try?
Yeah, let's try. See,
I'm going to try on my phone.
Okay,
Because otherwise I'd have to move away
just
from
so we
this.
know for a future reference, and nobody's watching right now except me, you, and Rafa anyway. So if we call it riots and they ding us for it or throttle us, we can at least see.
That's
But
not
riots is
letting me.
probably a better name.
It's not letting me from here. Let me see if I... Let's see how I can try to do this. So I'm going to be distracted because I'm trying to do this now. But
Yeah, and on the first day it was a lot easier for that protest in the top middle box on the stream here is a very large crowd.
it's not even... That's weird.
There's quite a
It's
few.
not even showing me like we're live. I might have to move away from this just to double check that we're still on.
Well, we have 5 people on now, so we're definitely live. So I think if this thing does kind of escalate, especially with that top middle box, which I think is Los Angeles, they passed out massive American flags for free today. And I think that was a good move on their part because if there are any photos taken of this, it's now going to be American flags instead of Mexican flags, which there was a huge... people weren't so happy there were so many Mexican flags flying at these protests. So it really gives it a different look when it's a bunch of American flags and things like that.
Okay, so now They let me do it.
Oh, it did.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have any more comments. Oh, Rafa said some more things.
Oh. Hold on, Rafa. I gotta go back to where I was so I can read you. 'Cause I don't know if it
You
lets...
said yes, you are alive.
He is alive?
We're alive.
Oh,
So
thank
not
you.
alive. But yes, we're alive.
Thank you.
So yeah, we're still alive. Okay, well, why don't we go to one of the other streams that
I'm just
Hold
pulling
on.
up the comments. Oh, thank you.
I kind of want to find out what that stream is
Which one?
in that top middle box. It's like definitely Los Angeles at this point.
Do you want me to jump around and try to see if anybody
Yeah,
else
see if anybody has
has
that exact stream. Because if anything's gonna pop off, it's gonna be that one. Oh, this one looks good. Let's hear the audio for this one.
Continues to move. Thank you, sir.
What are you doing?
We'll keep an eye on things, but that's the
Mario, we'll
latest
come
here.
right back to you. Let's go to the second camera while
We
that
started talking about a gay bar, and then they're like, let's cut the stream.
Let's go to the second camera
But I
that
thought
we
we're all
have there.
accept-
That,
oh, but
I
it's
believe is
Fox.
2nd Street happening right now. And you see, obviously, a large deployment there of police with their 40 millimeter and
It's
less
now 8 minutes
lethal
past curfew.
launchers.
Okay,
there,
yeah,
those green
they've
rifles
declared
you
a
see, as
state
I was mentioning
of
earlier,
unlawful
Unlawful
they
assembly.
But that was
basically,
3
launch
hours
a
ago?
foam projectile, rubber bullets as they're commonly called, and they can launch as far as 110 feet, I learned recently. And you see them, and they're clearly marked in green, so people know that those are less lethal projectiles. And you are looking live. It is 8:07. LAPD putting out the curfew, went into effect exactly 8 minutes ago, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. for that 1
And I
mile
think they'll
square
probably give
area
them
in
at least
downtown
an hour
Los Angeles.
to
And
disperse
right
before
now,
they start
this
making
is where
arrests, maybe
everything
even
is
2,
happening. There are
because they don't
smaller
want the
protests,
optics.
including one
I'm
in
going to say an
Van
hour,
Nuys,
because
in the
they're
San
not going to want
Fernando
it to be
Valley.
pitch
There's
black by the time they
100
start
protesters out on the streets
doing
of
this.
Oxnard
And apparently
right now, Ventura
somewhere,
County. We are
it just says
hearing
downtown LA
those
on the street,
protests remain peaceful.
someone
The
opened a fire
disturbance has been
hydrant
primarily in a
and water
very
was spraying
small area
everywhere, but let me see if I
surrounding
can
City
find
Hall
that.
near
Them talking about it somewhere. No. Oh, this was Austin, San Antonio. Oh, we got her back. Oh, their audio.
Their audio
got
is messed up, though. There's King Koopa I seen over there. And it's still daylight in Los Angeles, so it's going to be at least another 2 hours before it's really dark. Probably an hour. It's going to start to the sun's going to really start to set.
Should I quickly try and find wherever that is?
Yeah, find where that is, because if anything's going to pop
Because
off.
I'm gonna have to move away from here.
Okay, that's fine.
It's just you and I now.
Yep, I'll have to keep the audience entertained. Okay, let me look at some news. I did have some news articles, just in case something like this happened, Natalia.
Thank you.
Okay, so Canada updates its travel advisory for the United States, warning U.S. government officials now have the power to scrutinize your phone without permission. So basically, they can look into your phone, see everything you're doing if you cross the border. The Canadian government has had that right for years now, and anytime you go across that border, I was so used to living in the United States for a long time. When I did move back to Canada, when I crossed the border, they wanted to go through all my phone and everything, and I was like, can't do this. Supposedly they can in Canada. So the fact that they're trying to scrutinize the American government for going through people's phone when they do the exact same thing, it's very hypocritical.
Can't really find it. Because most mainstream channels only have that one view that we keep seeing repeated over and over again. Oh. Because a lot of them say live, but they're not actually live.
Yeah, that's the thing.
They're
so
just
the-
replaying footage from before.
So
and I don't know if I trust this one.
the 11 box feed that we have, he's primarily trying to find the live
No,
ones.
this was from before.
Okay. Why don't we just go back to the 11 box feed for now?
Okay.
There was
Should I go control the beast?
no. Let him have a good. Oh, let her have a good time.
Hey,
Good girl.
there's a riot happening right outside our
I
window.
have a bunch of chihuahuas.
Hey. To be clear, we do not have a chihuahua.
We have a little French
They're
bulldog.
outside. Shush. No yelling.
This was an interesting story that happened, and I believe this was in Canada. A man with a Lamborghini had to fire a warning shot to scare off thugs trying to steal his Lamborghini. The thieves were arrested and released. The homeowner was charged and kept in custody, which is just crazy. And this happened at his home as he pulled into his driveway. These people tried to take his Lamborghini from him.
Sorry, just trying to see if there's any more updates.
Yeah, that's definitely Los Angeles in the top center box now because of the palm trees. So, and it's daylight. Yeah, so if you're ever trying to figure out where things are filmed or what region of the country it is, a good trick is to kind of know the indigenous plants of that region. So I can usually tell the difference if something was filmed in Georgia versus Canada versus New York versus Los Angeles. Canada will have a lot of pine trees and things like that. Georgia will have a lot more like, what would you call those trees?
Like more filled out?
Well, trees with leaves on them, not like pine
Pines.
trees.
Yeah.
And then Los Angeles will always have palm trees.
And look, top right-hand corner, Latinx for Black Lives. Tu lucha es mi lucha. Shut up. Shut up. Do I move around or just keep it in here?
Yeah, let's move it around a little bit and see what's going on. That 1 feet in the top middle has to be from earlier today. That's much too big of a crowd in Los Angeles, especially now that curfews happened. Unless they all are all
Because
gathering
most of the
there.
other stations are focusing on this. I forget what streets they said it was, but
Well, I think the police intentionally moved them behind a lot of the media behind a certain line.
no, that's the same feed as the other one, and then that's San Antonio. No traffic. In case anybody's in San Antonio. Oh, look, bottom left is talking about losing weight.
Okay, let's see what other stories I have here.
And I keep trying to look for stuff. So no more updates about Salt Lake City, where there was incident with a firearm, and one person was taken into custody. One person was critically injured. They have.
I didn't. I had grabbed some articles today. There was in Texas, there was a massive oil refinery that lit on fire today. It was huge. It's a state of emergency in certain parts of Texas today because of the amount of smoke that's going in the air. When an oil refinery goes up, it's almost impossible to stop. And the amount of smoke that's released is insane. How that fire would have started is going to be of mass interest to a lot of people.
Also, it looks like Mark Ruffalo was at one of the No Kings protests today. Apparently, Disney only cares about political speech if you're Gina Carano.
Oh, look at that.
criticizing-
Trump's there.
Where? Oh.
Top middle box.
But then that's from earlier in the day, I believe.
Well, I'm sure they didn't just take the balloon down.
No, but I mean, I saw a lot of feeds with that kind of imagery earlier because it's darker elsewhere, if you notice.
Yeah.
Like the center middle one.
Well, no.
The time
because
of day looks
that's
different.
Los Angeles down there. I know that's a live feed in the center box because that's the one
Yes,
we're
that's-
watching. So
That's what I mean.
it's just starting to be sunset there, I think, now. Oh, here's the drone footage. So there's a couple drone channels flying their drones around. So it's actually pretty interesting, but they've been trying to, I'm not saying this channel is trying to hit people, but there was another channel attempting to hit people
With the drone.
with the drone. Or at least that's what it looked like to me. But the drone footage is a lot more interesting because it's constantly moving.
But yeah, the most most recent stories about some sort of violence happening is the Salt Lake City thing that happened, and also the protesters trying to breach the buildings in both Portland and the DHS buildings in both Portland and Seattle.
And what happened with the name? Were you able to change it or no? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
U.S. protest coverage. You should have said U.S. riot coverage.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
That's what I want to test out.
I don't want to test things.
Okay, let's
Oh,
go
look,
to
there's a-
let's go to some of the other coverage so we can hear the mainstream media kind of how they're saying how these are peaceful protests.
Oh, this
Which
one
so far,
ended.
I gotta admit, there's not as much violence as I thought there would be. Even especially earlier in the day, there was a lot more violence in Los Angeles.
And well, going back a lot further than the past week, but it's been especially obvious
here.
in the last week.
I
But
want
a couple hours later,
Go ahead, sure.
hours later, yeah.
Yeah, go
I was
ahead,
gonna say a couple
continue.
hours later, there was a pretty quick shift in tone, at least from interactions between protesters and law enforcement.
Now, Hunter, LAPD central officers report it was about just right before 4:30. We were monitoring their transmissions, and we had cameras and reporters also on the ground. They reported, the officers did, taking bottles and bricks and rocks being thrown at them by a group, and I
I'm
don't
wondering
like
if this
calling
crowd
them
is dispersing
protesters.
because
the LAPD calls them agitators.
look-
They
And it
also
looks like
call
they've
them
been able to
outside
start the flow of
agitators.
traffic.
Well, yeah,
They
they're
were
not in the middle of the
part
street. They're on the
peaceful
sidewalks, on the
protest. They
corners.
reported
So
taking
Except for those
bottles
two
This is a
and bricks and
very
rocks from
small
these
group.
agitators.
Except for
That
those
caused
two
them to
idiots,
issue
but
the
yeah.
dispersal
This also
order,
doesn't look
and
like
things
it's
deteriorated from
in the
there.
main
Your
downtown
thoughts?
core because there's no
Yeah,
officers
I've
there.
read those reports. I've also read reports and
Do you want me to
seen
move
footage
somewhere
by
else?
Associated
No, let's
Press
stay here and
and
listen to what
NBC
they're
both
saying.
directly contradicting those reports, claiming that they were entirely unprovoked. Now, obviously, I'm part of a nonviolent movement. We have entirely peaceful protests. If there were any sort of violence by outside agitators, that's not something that we support. But the violence that I saw, the violence that Associated Press saw, and the violence that NBC saw were exclusively against civilians by law
So
enforcement.
this is somebody
And
trying
let
to
me be very
justify.
specific
Well,
here.
obviously,
Stupid
and
things.
why they're not bringing up any of the violence that happened the first 3 days of the protest, which were absolutely insane. These were viral moments that were all over the internet. Every single day there was violence, but when Monday hit, the violence kind of hit a lull. So it wasn't the spectacular violence we're seeing the first 3 days of this protest, which was crazy to
And that is my
me.
fundamental issue there. Frankly, just taking the worst possible situation, someone throwing a water bottle at you versus someone firing rubber bullets at high
And we're just gonna
impact
relax for a little
velocity
while
directly
and
at
go
your
through these
face, which
feeds.
cause
So
terminal
if
brain
you are
injuries
with
or even
us,
kill you, those things are not at all
we
equivalent,
might
and I
not
think
talk
it's a
quite as much
disservice
for a
to
little
people.
while. We'll pick up commentary in a bit, maybe.
So this is still where
Stay on this one for a minute, maybe.
the sound or no sound?
Yeah, what city is this?
Los
LAPD?
Angeles.
Huh?
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles as well. So it is starting to get darker there now.
And they've been here for a while because I believe we were seeing this in the big, like the smaller square setup from Starship Adventures. Starship, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Starship Adventures. Starship Adventures is a great feed if you just want to have multiple feeds on your screen and hear the police radio or the police scanner. So after we do go off air, if nothing does happen, if you want to continue to watch, Starship Adventures is a excellent channel. That's how I've been monitoring the nationwide protests over the last few days because he does have feeds from across the nation. Although some of them aren't looking as live as they were earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's taking a break. Maybe he's getting something to eat. When are your Milky Way cinnamon rolls coming?
Because I had ordered something from.
Why don't you tell the full story? Because we have hours we're going to be entertaining.
we
them.
had ordered food
It's only
yesterday.
me and you on here right now because it's two watching.
I think Rafa was here at some point.
But are you watching us?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's me and you. So why don't you tell me on the camera about the story?
Why?
Why not? It's good practice for us.
So I ordered food yesterday and they forgot to bring one thing and they were supposed to bring it today, but then they didn't because Mexico City. That's the way it works, but we had already paid for it. So I guess I'll continue to try to get something fixed for it, but it's
Well,
not the first time it happens with
maybe I'm going to make a soup in a
delivery.
minute and eat it on stream.
No,
Why not?
because you should get people to pay extra for that.
Oh, God.
I'm never going to eat on stream.
I will never eat on stream. You're already eating my soul.
That sounds bad.
What is that on top of
That's
that?
what wives do.
Is that what the hell's on top of that
No,
truck?
that's from the building.
Oh,
it's
that's from
like
the building.
An awning.
Wait, let's go to the 11 camera feed or however many cameras that that feed is.
Let's go live. Okay, I'll leave you here for a second.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
And the camera in
You
the
talk.
middle that seems to be frozen now would be LA right now because the sun was sitting on the other one. So that's definitely a live feed in the middle of Los Angeles. So it does seem like the protests are starting to break up outside of downtown and they're going to more local neighborhoods and communities. I used to live in Los Angeles, so this is definitely not the downtown core, which is far more dangerous because it's easier to control crowds in a confined space like downtown. When you start getting these smaller communities, it's really going to have to disperse a lot of the police into smaller units of 3 and 4. Also, the box next to that in the center, that would be the center right-hand side, I guess. That looks like a bit of a larger group going again into smaller neighborhoods. And if they start starting fires and things like this in smaller neighborhoods, it could become pretty crazy. Now, there hasn't been many fires started by the protesters today. Every other day there has been. So I'm expecting later tonight when Nat comes back, I'll get her to go to the Los Angeles feed there where they have the map. And we're up to 7 likes. Thank you to everybody that has liked us. I do understand that the Iranian news is kind of getting most of the headlines from the mainstream media. The other day when we were doing live protest coverage, we had quite a few viewers because the mainstream media was covering the protests, and then people were coming onto YouTube and I think searching it. Today's Saturday. Not as many people seem to be searching it.
And Rafa says, yeah, tell that story, but that was about it. It's not a very interesting story.
It was an interesting story.
What, that we didn't get food delivered that we had
First
ordered?
of all, you wanted to get Papa John's pizza. Because the Pizza Hut pizza had...
Well, usually people don't like to say that word on stream because then people get all conspiracy theory. That's what I was trying to avoid, saying that word.
What, pizza?
Yes.
Oh, God. Anyway, so she was going to get Papa John's, which was actually better than Pizza Hut, because Pizza Hut Domino's had some oregano or some crazy thing on there.
Because they tried to improve it, but they actually made it worse.
But what were those things called that you had? Milky Way rolls?
Yes.
Snicker rolls? She originally wanted Snicker rolls, and I said, well, that has nuts in it.
No, I don't like Snickers.
Yeah. So she got these Milky Way rolls.
But they never got delivered.
Yeah. And they said, call back tomorrow and we'll give you a free pizza as well.
And nothing happened.
And nothing. The guy said, oh, call me on my personal line.
Yeah, that
which was crazy. That was a little weird.
I'm trying to figure out if something else is happening. But nope.
Okay, go to that feed right there.
Which
I know
one?
we have it. The one in the center, middle.
Do we?
Sorry, center on the side. Yeah, we do.
Oh, no, that one ended.
This
that
is
one?
it here, yeah. So it started as a small crowd, and now all 4 corners are starting to get...
We've been following has been in the downtown LA area.
Is there sound?
This
Yeah.
being Van Nuys, not surprising to see.
So this isn't Van Nuys. This isn't downtown.
Or start elsewhere. They were scheduled.
And they're
for
trying to take
various
over the
times
center here.
throughout
And
Southern
usually in the center
California.
of the intersection
But
is
the
where they
people
try
in
to
the
start the
street,
bonfires. So
that
this
is
will be something to
concerning
watch
because
for.
That is dangerous. That is where cars are driving, and you don't want somebody to get hurt
So it's,
or hit.
it is downtown or is it not downtown?
No, this is a different city. This is called
So
Van
there's no
Nuys.
curfew there.
This is Van Nuys. Yeah, that would make sense. They're trying to disperse into other cities that are close to Los Angeles, like Van Nuys. So they don't get busted for curfew, maybe.
Right now, we're watching a fairly small crowd there in Van Nuys, but they seem to be quite vocal and exercising their right to speak out. But in the middle of the road there, where somebody could get hit or hurt or an accident happen, that is a little more concerning, even though it's a small group right now.
That's right. Van Nuys and Victory Boulevard. Van Nuys Boulevard has been the scene of
Give me a minute.
protests all day long, starting early this
let's just
morning.
listen
But
to the
again, this is the
commentary
first
for a
time that
little
we're
bit.
seeing protesters take to the middle of the street. We know that LAPD is keeping a close eye. Now we see a car going. Oh no, it's trying to make
Oh,
a
that
right
guy's
turn.
doing,
But you have people in the
cartwheels
middle
there.
of the intersection, and you have people also in the crosswalk. And now the green light is obviously on Victory, and you still have those people in the middle of the street there. And
I feel like
traffic
even
is
the
very
reporters
heavy
have
on
nothing
Victory and
else
Van
to
Nuys
talk
Boulevard. At any hour, it's usually very busy.
And then you think of a Saturday night where
Okay. Oh, hold
not
on.
everybody in LA went to the protest. Just making my way here, I was thinking of all the people who were going about their day in whatever
Yeah, and the
fashion.
restaurants were packed down there when
Someone
they were
wanted to
showing
watch
them.
the
Yeah.
So
parade celebrating the
I
Army's
mean,
birthday.
protesters get hungry
on
after walking
television.
so much.
President Trump did speak as well. So you have that counter picture of what happened in Washington, D.C.
And we'll probably have more
with the
like
counter
select
picture
clips from what
of
happened during the
no
weekend
peace
on
protests
Monday.
across
yeah,
the
we'll
nation.
cover it on Monday.
This is
But
Saturday night
honestly,
in the Van
it's
Nuys area.
so far
Very
nothing
far
crazy is
downtown
happening.
LA.
But
Who
again,
don't know the
it's
area,
only 9:30
Van
Central
Nuys
Time,
is
which
in
we're
the
broadcasting
valley,
live from
as we
Mexico
say.
City.
It is north
So
of the 134
That would
freeway.
that would
make
be
it
8:30 in
405
Los Angeles.
freeway.
I wouldn't
We're
expect things to
downtown,
really pop off
obviously,
to 11. Things
very
when they did
different
pop off
freeways.
in Los
There
Angeles
is
were
no
happening
curfew
around
in this
midnight.
area,
So.
like there is in that 1 square mile area of the downtown LA
And if we have
area.
anybody that wants to
I'm thinking
leave a
of
comment or
motorists who
anything
may
like
not
that,
want to be
we'll
a
read them
part
out.
of this
So
or get caught up in
yesterday
this.
we had a
This is an area then to avoid
a
the
progressive.
Van Nuys area.
Really, we were
Van
having a lot of back and
and
forth, so that
Victory.
was pretty fun.
It can
Oh, look, they're
be
trying to do, what are
a
those
They're
lot
called?
taking
to
over
get
this
caught up in
intersection
people
now.
in
But when
the
they do
street.
wheelies, it's a,
It can feel
Yep, this is how it
alarming to
starts.
Not know where to go or
but
not
it looks
want
like
to
it's
hit
an auto
somebody.
bike.
It's a little
Crowd
dinky
there
razor
who
scooter or
bicycle
something.
They want to make their
Looks like one of
their
those
voices
Honda
heard in the
scooters.
middle of the street.
Doesn't look like it
You
can
have
take
that
two
white
people.
car. I don't know if they're able to make a left. They're trying to make a left. their cars are trying to navigate.
And they're
around
inching
the
out
people
more and
there.
more, especially
And
that
I understand that LAPD may
far
be on
crowd
the way
more
there
and
now.
more
They're
into
also
the
monitoring
street.
the
So
situation. I want
they've
to see
just
if we
taken
could
over the
go
one
to
lane
our
now.
other camera right now, the one that I believe
No,
is
they're
on
gonna
second, where I
crash.
understand arrests are being made
No.
right now. Do we have that other camera up that we can take a look?
Oh, so
This is
arrests
our
are being
other
made for
camera. We're
curfew.
just sort of moving around to get a better shot.
Here we
but
go.
understand that on second, arrests were now being made and people were seen being taken into custody. But that camera, I'm not sure if that's this camera or.
Well,
we
it's
do
obviously
see the
not this
flashing lights of
camera.
Police officers. Marta
Freaking-
Ramirez is
Well,
on
there's
his
police
way to
there, but it's pretty
LAPD
far away.
headquarters right
Retarded
now
reporters.
for an
You
official
can't say that
update,
word.
I can
hopefully
say whatever I
from
want.
the
Joe
chief of
Rogan says it's
police,
okay to
Jim
say that word
McDonnell,
now.
and
Yeah,
here
but
from
I know
the
YouTube
live,
says
this is
that.
downtown Los
It's
Angeles, and
okay
we
now.
understand that some people were being taken into custody.
Okay, let's go to the
And we
11
will get
camera
the
feed just really
numbers of
quick
people
to see
arrested.
the nation and if everything's.
Again, this is the
Some
top.
of these-
This one is from the daytime.
Yeah, some of these are a little bit older now.
That's the one like middle right is what we were looking at.
Well,
or
I'm trying
just
to.
now.
Why don't you siphon through all of our feeds? That other gentleman that has Los Angeles that you were watching all day. Miss one for a minute. Stay here. Stay.
No, he's ended.
Oh, he ended.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's not showing anything. So this is live. This is the same shot. They've been basically doing this for the past
Yeah,
hour
a
and a
lot
half.
of cameras were just. Oh, where's
that
that
was
at?
earlier in the day.
Oh, that was earlier in the day. That was Los Angeles earlier in the day.
And then this is a traffic cam.
A bunch of nothing.
And
Probably 2 hours
That's
from now.
about it.
Oh,
Oh,
let's hear this.
Overall, today was peaceful, considering how many protests took place. There were about 15 different protests all around the city. And of course, we were most concerned about the protests downtown. There were some difficulties there, but we are hopeful that we will be able to quickly get people to disperse without a lot of arrests for unlawful assembly or curfew violations. Over the last couple of days, that's where we have been. The number of arrests have
And there
dropped
may have been a
considerably,
lot of
but course,
backlash.
you know, this protest
Well,
was one
I'll
that
let
was
her
planned
finish.
for months. That really was not about ICE. It was more about the military parade and the overreach of the administration. But then, of course, when the raids happened, then that expanded the view of the reason for the protest. But I'm sure it also contributed to thousands more people being in the streets that would have been.
And this is
Madam
Mayor
Mayor,
Karen Bass
obviously
of Los
the city,
Angeles.
the LAPD was
me to
prepared
shut
for
up
the
or
worst, but you
No,
specifically
well, we're going to be on here
asked
for a few hours,
peace,
so
and you
we got nothing
specifically
better to do
asked
but listen
that
to her.
people not be violent because it
And
would
we'll go back to the
feed
protest in
into
just
the
a moment.
rhetoric that's coming, that people, this perception that they have. President Trump said if it wasn't for him and if it wasn't for the National Guard, we would all be burning down right now. And you asked them not to be violent, not to feed into the rhetoric. This has to be disheartening.
Well, no, I mean, look, the way, especially if you view how the president characterized the city, you know good and well, especially when it comes to the downtown area, that this is a small slice of Los Angeles that is 500 square miles.
Apparently-
So, of course, I'm always disappointed.
shut her
in
up for a
any
moment.
The Portline ICE building has been hit with explosives. They don't say of what kind, but they've been fighting back and forth. It looks like smoke bombs, but it could be something else. There's
Okay, let's go back to the live feeds here.
but yeah.
Let's just pick one. The one with the. Leave it here for a moment.
Okay.
Other than that top center block, it started, and that bottom block, it's looking a lot more live. And like I was kind of saying,
And apparently, well, this was 55 minutes ago, so I don't know if there's an update, but apparently Fort Hood is on lockdown, active pew-pewer.
oh wow, so there's quite a few things going on.
Incident under investigation.
Because there was that major.
Oh, all clear now.
There was that major oil refinery explosion within Texas, which put a lot of the state on a state of alert. Shelter in place order was issued for the state. So let's go to the feed that of the intersection again. That's the best feed that we have right now because there is not much going on.
No, it's not that one. I think it was this one.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah, because this one's done. That one's done. Traffic camera.
Okay, go back to the 11 feed
They
camera
brought
because
us back to this.
the 11 feed camera is updated now. It's all pretty much live. So this is a pretty big group in the center, and that is Los Angeles, and it's live because it's starting to get dark.
I'm sorry, I'm looking up any more news on the protests. And the person in Salt Lake City is in custody, which I'd already said.
Yeah, so if anything does happen in Los Angeles, it looks like it's going to happen in the neighborhoods. And the neighborhoods these are where the people live. Downtown's mainly the business district. So they may destroy their own neighborhoods if it does get out of control. On the first day of the protest, they burned down a small mini mall. So I remember watching that.
So apparently in Canada, the protests, the No Kings Day protests, had to be renamed because Canada does have a king. So they call it the No Tyrants protests instead of the No Kings, because King Charles III is the King of Canada.
And if you are watching us for the first time, please give us a subscribe if you can. We're a small channel. We're trying to grow it. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. This is our secondary channel. Our primary channel is a Spanish language channel called Nat and the Guy in Espanol. We broadcast out of Mexico City.
Yes.
So we have a little bit of different of a perspective maybe than some of these American live streaming broadcasts.
I'm from Mexico, and we lived for a long time in Canada.
Yep. So that is the Karen. You were right. That intersection was Karen Bass. They switched to her. Earlier in the day, he was much better because he had each one labeled like this is all Los Angeles now. He had Chicago, New York.
So it'll be interesting
Philadelphia.
to see Salt Lake, but I'm trying to find some
They're probably
with my
showing-
phone, but I can't. Like I don't see anything live from Salt Lake because they ordered to disperse after the pew-pews and the incident. Well, maybe actually that top right-hand corner, is that LA? Because that could...
They're all LA right now. And some of them were from earlier in the day, I'm recognizing as well, because it's still daylight outside and it's not daylight in Los Angeles anymore. So that one in the top center is definitely...
Yes, that was clearly
older.
from during the daytime.
I'm mainly focused on the center box here. That's the most interesting box to me right now. I think this is that intersection. But from a ground view that we were seeing from the helicopter a few moments ago. And yeah, we're just gonna live stream all these cameras. We'll go to individual cameras throughout the night. We're just kind of monitoring the nation, seeing if anything does happen. We were expecting something to happen. You may be right on this one, but we'll
I
have
usually
to,
am.
Well, I'm still gonna hold out. I'm not gonna say hope, but
That you're right and something does pop off. Rafa says, what a bunch of losers. I hope you mean the protesters, not us trying to figure out what to do. But yeah, if you're referring to the protesters, yes, it is. Because, and as I keep saying, as someone who is Mexican, from Mexico, living in Mexico, a lot of these demonstrations and a lot of the rhetoric that has been thrown around by both sides actually doesn't benefit people either living in Mexico or the migrants themselves that are in the U.S.
Oh, and in Spain, there's been big protests happening. I forgot to mention it the other day because they were just kind of starting up. But they're going against the left-wing government in Spain. They want a new election. So also, remember we talked about the Polish elections recently, where they had the populist kind of Trump-supporting candidate win. The EU is now saying that election was rigged and they want to redo it, much like they tried to do with the Romanian election when they canceled that. I'm going to use the bathroom real quick and I'm going to get some meat chips.
You can't eat on stream. No. Okay. So now it's just me talking to myself. So funnily enough, I'm looking at trending topics on X, at least here in Mexico. This doesn't even reach the 20 top trends, so not a lot of people are interested about that. Here, a lot of talk about Palestine, Israel, Gaza, etc. So Iran, etc. So again, we were trying to steer away from that just because that's basically what everybody else is covering right now and talking about. And also, at least myself, has made my stance very clear where I'm just like, get out of, just let them do it themselves. Deal with it themselves. I know it's not a very popular opinion. And I keep trying to figure out something else. There has been a lot of signs that have been seen at these protests, specific cities, mostly in Los Angeles, DC, and I believe, and Chicago, where they were calling for violence to happen to J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, which I don't know if they could get in trouble for that. That's going to be way too loud for people to hear.
Oh, I'm just gonna
Nobody wants to hear you chewing. I hate it when people do that on stream. If anybody else agrees with me, please let me know. This is why I told you to eat before you started. You muted yourself or both of us?
I just muted myself.
I can hear you.
These are your meat chips that you love. Let's show them.
Don't. We're not getting paid by them, so don't advertise. I hate showing brands on stream. Put that down. Guy. Did you mute yourself? So now I have to talk. Should I just go to me while you eat? Why don't you go over there and eat? That looks gross. Nobody wants to see this. No, because then you won't be able to see all the cameras.
Oh, I don't like those.
Okay, then don't eat them. So again, clearly not an advertisement for
Ooh,
that.
those taste like dirt.
I never tried them, so
Usually,
you said that I love.
she usually eats these meat sticks that have no
Meat
preservatives, and they had these meat chips. So same brand, so she decided to try them, and these are horrible. I'll eat one more. Just
Oh, mute yourself. I really do hate it when people eat on stream or hearing people eating, even with him when I'm just with him at home. What are you eating? Something called meat chips, but he didn't like them, and now he's going to. You probably don't want to eat that on stream, because if anybody grabs a screen grab of you, they can make fun of you. Okay. And again, we're not advertising stuff. We don't get paid by anybody, not even YouTube.
okay. Well, they got the helicopter out, and that's good because it's going to be easy to see if any fires start, and that's going to be an indication.
Where is? Oh, there.
In Los Angeles, there, yeah.
I honestly think maybe they did a good enough job of scaring off a lot of the stuff that could have happened.
Well, a lot
today.
of people were angry in Los Angeles because of the amount of graffiti and destruction of the city over the first few days of this protest. So citizenry may have shamed the other citizens into.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe like migrants, especially the ones that are not there legally, but migrants themselves might have said, hey, this is actually not helping
There's
us.
the night march right there. So there is a major night march going on in Los Angeles.
Where?
It's in the center right box there. The one that's kind of green.
But it looks very small.
No.
Yes.
No, they're showing what's in front of them, where they're marching to.
Civic Center Drive West downtown. Is that LA? Civic Center?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, you keep saying you used to live there. So.
Well, I don't know every street in a 500-mile city.
I know most streets in Mexico City.
No, you don't. You get lost constantly.
That's because I don't
You
have to
get
follow
lost
a
going
map.
to the store.
That's because I don't have to follow a map. It's very different. Santa Ana, that's where it is.
Santa Ana is really far
Mute
from.
your mic, please. If you're going to eat, nobody wants to hear that. What were you going to say about Santa Ana? Tell me and I'll say it.
Santa Ana is really far from Los Angeles. I used to live by Santa Ana, so it's close to Orange County. I used to live in Long Beach.
Is that
as
a
well.
nicer part of LA?
It's not LA.
Is that a nicer part of that part of California?
I'd say it's a bit nicer, yeah.
Okay.
But it doesn't have a huge downtown core like Los Angeles.
That was also supposed to be mine.
You have 6 of them over there.
I don't care. Those are all supposed to be for me. I'm like Joey and Friends. I don't share food. And he always takes it from me.
Okay, there's the intersection now. Now it's starting to get big. That's where they're congregating to. That's Van Nuys.
North Broadway, it says. Do you want me to try to go to that one? See if anybody's still streaming that? Nope. So downtown LA does have a curfew in place at the moment. This is still whatever they're doing. Do you want me to try to find it?
Yeah.
Because I need to move away from this. So I'm going to... No? I thought you didn't eat past 9 p.m.
Why don't you look on your phone first?
What? For it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Looking on my phone.
So it's the helicopter feed?
Your mic's muted.
Okay, so it's going to be the helicopter feed if you're looking for it.
But it's from a news channel, so I'd have to find the news channel, right?
Yeah, it will say in the corner. Oh, you can't read it.
And I don't seem to see it.
Okay, why don't you take control of the stream? I'll find it.
What do you mean?
I'll be able to find it here.
What do you mean control of the stream?
To talk to the people
Okay.
for a little bit. I don't have any more.
You have to tell her there's no more.
Hold on.
Our dog keeps begging for food unless you go like this to her and say there's no more. You have to show her you have no more food. There's no more food. Come here. Yeah, there's no more. There's no more. That doesn't mean bite me. Bring me your toy. Bring me your toy. Bring it. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to find news and also this aerial view that nobody seems to have. I can't find it. Okay, I'll take control of the stream. But again, I guess, oh, that one ended, so it was AP.
Oh, that was AP.
But it's not there anymore. And he doesn't seem to have any other ones updated. So maybe it was just mostly peaceful except for Salt Lake City and what happened in the morning.
Just the last few days. The first few days were mostly violent.
Yeah, no, I mean today, the No Kings ridiculousness. Because again, a lot of them were either canceled or 5 people standing on a street corner. Like out of those 2,000 plus ones, a lot of them were very, very tiny. And we'll have footage of those on Monday. But yeah, I can't find anything else happening right now. I mean, like news-wise. Rafa's asking, do you think those people have a job? I'm wondering if protests will continue tomorrow.
Yeah, because that's why they the first 3 days of the protests were Thursday, Friday, Saturday of last weekend, I believe. Or Friday, Saturday, Sunday of last weekend, and they really ramped up because everybody got off on Friday, started protesting, and went all the way to Sunday, and then they died down during the week, meaning there was minor violence, minor like fire bombings of cars and stuff. But the first day, there was like mass fire bombings of cars, things like that. And once work started, everybody kind of went back to work during the week.
Ish, but yeah.
For the most part.
A lot of people did stay up.
So tomorrow's Sunday. I expect if it does ramp up, there could be one more day possibly, but I won't be. If nothing happens tonight, unless something major happens, then we'll go on late tomorrow just to show it. But
yes,
if anything's gonna happen, it's gonna happen tonight. But they had all week to prepare, and like they had the military come out, sheriffs, everything else. So maybe they're pretty well prepared. Mm-hmm. They did implement a curfew, which I was surprised on.
Do you want me to move around?
Yeah, let's see what this guy's saying.
Safe.
Oh, it's him.
But for those who want to stay, want to cause trouble, we're going to look. We're going to find them and we're going to arrest them, and they will be held accountable. And for many of the people who think they've gotten away with a lot of the violence that's been done, there are cameras everywhere, and we will scour those to be able to find the people who hurt other people, assaulted officers in particular.
I know there's been at least one report of a sheriff's deputy being injured. Any of your officers injured?
Oh, yeah, we've had, I believe, the latest 10 officers injured to some degree. But I'll tell you, we've had people drive into them in the crowd. We've had people have Molotov cocktails are being used. We've had commercial-grade fireworks being shot at them, hit in the face with rocks and bottles. And they get treated medically and get back out in the field and get into the mix again. The spirit is great. I have so much admiration for our folks, the restraint that they've shown out there since we've been out here, and just their willingness to be able to put themselves in harm's way to protect the community. Really impressed.
You have a long history in law enforcement, but you've been in this position. You're fairly new as the police chief here. How does that play into your approach here?
I grew up in this organization. I spent 29 years here, my first trip, and then went to Long Beach PD for 5, was sheriff for 4, and consulting and working at USC at a think tank on public safety issues. And to be able to be back in the environment that meant so much to me, was so much a part of who I am, I feel blessed and honored.
And lastly, your message to the
And this is the
demonstrators
chopper
who feel
station,
that
so
maybe they're being pushed
maybe
off
they
the
go back to
streets
the chopper
unjustly.
after
They
this
want to be
interview.
out here. They're calling for free speech.
they have
and
it in
say,
the corner.
you know, they deserve to be out here. I know there's a curfew, but many of them feel that they're being pushed back up before they should be.
Yeah. No, a curfew is not declared unless things are of sufficient seriousness that it's not to the benefit of the overall community to allow people to be out after 8 o'clock, hours of darkness. And so we look at that, we reevaluate that every day. Ultimately, the mayor will make the decision on that. But it's been a great tool for us to preserve
Let's go to
businesses so they're not
11
vandalized
camera
at night.
feed.
And
Keep seeing more and more daylight clips. Because the top and bottom.
We're gonna stay on one more hour. Because that would be 10 o'clock Los Angeles time, and then that would be
indication.
1 a.m. on the East Coast. So if nothing happens by 1 a.m. on the East Coast, I'm not expecting much to happen. Something could happen after 10, but it's really looking like the police and the military did a pretty good job here.
And I do think it would be a testament to law enforcement and the messaging that they've been putting out. Finally, Mayor Karen Bass kind of doing something and realizing that she should maybe not, continue to say nothing was happening and call the curfew and call the state of emergency in downtown Los Angeles. And then also, for example, in Florida, the chief of police or sheriff, who was it?
Sheriff and the Ron DeSantis as well.
But the guy that gave that speech.
Yeah.
So we showed it yesterday, I believe, but saying what would happen to protesters if they decided to do anything to police officers. Of course, Portland, Seattle will continue to be slightly more violent, and they'll permit it a bit more because their governors are still saying that it's mostly peaceful. And that was while the DHS facility, they were trying to breach it, at least Antifa and other ne'er-do-wells. So I mean, if we're going to see anything, I'm guessing it'll be around Portland, Oregon, tonight at least, and Seattle. And Rafa says, hope I don't get sent. Rafa says, hope I don't get sent to cavity search tomorrow at the airport for being Mexican. Oh, so you are going. Please stay safe out there. Oh, and I do think I did put July instead of June. So thank you for catching that. I will go change it.
No wonder nobody's watching our stream.
No, but that was after you made me change it initially, so.
Okay, I'm just looking for other individual streams right now. There doesn't seem to be a lot of action happening, so.
That's what I said. I love being right, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I know people hate it when people love being right, but it just makes me happy to annoy him.
Here, why don't we go to, it's done. No, it's not. Go to
I'll put
Johnny Hicks.
Hold on.
John Hicks channel.
Okay, I changed it now again.
Well, he's actually nothing's going on here. He's at an abandoned intersection.
I do think there was so much hype and people expecting things to happen tonight that even the protesters were like, let's just not have anything happen. I'm sure there will be some, for
Let's
example.
go to John Hicks channel. It's the drone channel.
Thank you, Walker. It was Walker that said, Guy, I think they put July instead of June, LOL. Yes, that was my mistake. Okay, while I search for it, I'll just go UNI. So what's it called?
John, John.
Yes, I know how to spell John.
Hicks. He's the guy that was flying the drone around, I believe, downtown Los Angeles. So it's just a little bit different footage. He's nowhere near the protesters as far as I can tell. But it's interesting just to, because I was watching him fly his drone around.
If you get dizzy easily, just be forewarned.
And he was right in the cop's face earlier on this channel, so with his little drone.
He's on a bicycle?
I don't know. Oh,
Yes.
he's on a bicycle. I thought it was a drone. Yeah, it's a bicycle.
So again, if you get dizzy easily, sorry.
And I'm wondering what the curfew applies to. Is it going to be everybody in their vehicles as well?
No, I'm guessing you're going to drive. I think it's mostly just people doing bad stuff. Because some people still work. I mean, there's still hotels downtown. There's still businesses. So they can't completely shut down the city. But I'm guessing you need to have kind of a valid excuse to be downtown, or for large groups to be downtown. I think they're mostly concerned with large groups because I do see.
I think
some
it's a
people,
curfew for the whole city.
but I see some people on the street.
Yeah, but they might just not know there's a curfew.
But because it looks kind of quiet, I'm guessing they're not trying to super enforce it for every single person.
No, just the troublemakers, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I see one Mexican flag there, but he decided not to go that way. So
Oh, here's that thing. So this
Rafa
is
says, "Welcome, Walker." Yes, thank you for being here, Walker.
ABC 7.
Okay.
Okay, so this was the helicopter footage. Oh, that group is big now. So yeah, let's go to ABC 7. This is the most action we've had all night. Like right before we went on the air, there was huge skirmishes between the cops and the protesters.
But because they were trying to clear out everything.
yeah, and they managed to disperse them. But now they're gathering. Oh, they're surrounding this car now.
Do you want sound or no sound?
Yeah, sound if we have it.
A little bit, and then there's no sound because it's a chopper, so there's no sound.
Oh, no sound. Okay,
I'll just leave it there in
That's
case
fine. Yeah,
somebody
this is
comes.
the best
Somebody comes out to
coverage
talk.
we've had. So this is the same intersection. They've completely taken it over. Oh no, this is a different intersection.
Orange
because-
County,
Oh, this is Orange County.
North Broadway, and
Santa
4th.
Ana.
Yeah. Do you know
So
where that is?
Yeah, I know where this is. Santa Ana has a large Mexican population, so
Or descendants of Mexicans. So it looks like they've completely stopped that one. Because what they do is they kind of let traffic go by, and then like one person rushes in, and then everybody else rushes in, and of course the person doesn't want to run them over, so they have to stop. But the person in the car, from what I can tell, doesn't look super happy.
well, yeah, who would be happy?
Well, because there's a car behind them that I think might be more in support, let's just say.
I don't think so. That car behind him looks like
No, the one with black and white.
Oh yeah.
That has people
Once
on
they
in
start,
it.
if they start getting close to the car, and then somebody starts shaking it, very often somebody else will get on the hood.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that happen in New York today. These black girls were just jumping on the hood of cars and,
As they do.
and twerking, and they were just destroying the hoods of these cars.
Yeah, we saw that a lot during both festivals and stuff and protests. Walker Walker says, "Thank you, man," to Rafa. "I like that you two are friends now. Keep being friends." And Walker asks, "Guy, what do you think about the UN asking that things no longer escalate between Iran and Israel?"
Yeah, they can ask all they want. Israel hit them with no justifiable reason other than, oh, they're going to get nuclear weapons, which they've been saying for 34 years now. Specifically, Netanyahu has been warning of their nuclear weapons for 34 years. They're no closer today. So he has not been able to justify that strike. The U.S. is now over there with aircraft carriers shooting down missiles for Israel. Like, the U.S. needs to pull out of this thing. I don't care what Israel and Iran do. That's up to them. The U.S. should stay out of this. There is a huge rift within conservatism, especially within the United States right now. I'm on the side that America needs to stay out of it. They've started too many unjust wars. They said there was nuclear nukes in Iraq, and that ended up being a false flag. Yeah, I just see that thing is going to continue to escalate.
Ended.
Oh, that was the best stream that they had.
Do you want me to see if they start up a new one?
Yeah, keep monitoring them. Oh, this middle section here looks pretty good. There's quite a few people there. I got excited for that stream.
You just want something to happen.
Well, at this point, I like to have
He's been
Saturday-
talking about this all week.
Well,
It's going to be big on Saturday. And I kept saying, I don't think it will. Number one, because law enforcement did start coming out with statements and making it a bit more clear. And number two, because I'm guessing a lot of the maybe most violent ones concentrated
something's
around
going on here.
Portland and Seattle. And for some reason, of course, they don't have really any live coverage that we can show. What's going on?
No, he's showing it. He's showing an old feed. I was looking at the Crucible.
Oh. Because again, nothing's happening. I mean, maybe something will just happen all of a sudden and I'm
thinking nothing's going to happen, but we're going to stay on the air anyway for one more hour. I'm actually thinking some violence will happen, a few car bombings and stuff in LA. Oh, I shouldn't have said that.
No.
But overall, it's not going to be nothing like it was the first couple days of
and it
these
looks like
protests.
on X, there are some from earlier, like when the protests were happening. For example, some fires were started, but the crowd itself like put them out. So
Yeah.
I think they might be trying to prove a point that, see, they were not violent. But then they're making us all forget about the past 4 days. Walker has a similar question to Rafa, which is, don't those people protesting work or something? I mean, because I never have time to go out and do that all the time. A lot of them are paid. A lot of them work from home. A lot of them have tech sector jobs. Today is Saturday.
It's Saturday as well. And during the last weekend, the protests, those were the most violent days, was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Monday, the protest almost completely died. There was minor protest and there was like minor car bombings or car boom booms here and there, but it was nothing like those first 3 days because everybody had to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that yesterday, I thought it was kind of the lull before the storm because that was the most quiet day. But there was maybe a lot of backlash because I was watching a lot of the mainstream media, especially coming out of LA. There was a lot of backlash for all the graffiti and damage they did to the city, the looting and things like that. So maybe that the shame the regular citizens put on these protesters actually worked.
Or people saying that that's not going to help migrants in the U.S. or Mexicans over here. Because I've kept saying that all week, that escalating the rhetoric and giving fodder on both sides doesn't help anybody. Oh, there's a French bulldog. Top left-hand corner. Nope. It's doing the same thing ours does.
Okay, Fox 11, Los Angeles. That's going to be the new helicopter feed, I think.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just going away for a second.
We'll check that one, and then I'll continue to look for a moment.
I move away from the feed just to make sure we don't show anything we're not supposed to. This is just the chop review. Oh, which is not loading.
Okay, there's something going on here. It's called CRUX. Yeah, this one's big because there's 3.
I think that was from a different day.
Oh, it was?
Because I looked at it. You get so excited when you think something's happening. But yeah. I mean, I guess sometimes this happens. Oh, no.
Wix
No.
es tu oportunidad para contar tu
Well, now you know we are in Mexico because we get Mexican ads. I do have YouTube Premium, but for some reason, the channels, I haven't been able to set it up. It keeps...
It's frozen.
Yeah, it keeps freezing. Is yours frozen?
Let me check again. I clicked off of it.
Because I keep trying to reset it, but then I get the ad.
What channel was that? ABC7?
Fox 11.
Oh, it wasn't ABC7.
So it's not working.
Fox 11?
We'll come back to that one.
Yeah, Fox 11's working fine on mine.
But not here.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, it froze on mine as well. So it worked for about 2 seconds. Okay, we'll hang out here for the next 55 minutes.
Hour.
Do we have anybody? Oh, we have Rafa and
4.
Walker watching
Rafa
us.
Walker.
Feel free to leave if you want, but
you and I
thought there was going to be a lot more happening today.
Remember yesterday when I said I don't think it's going to be as big as you think?
Yes, you said I told you so a number of times tonight.
I know, but I love saying that. And Walker was asking, how do these people have time to go protest so much? I know in Vancouver, because of some, let's just say, friends I had when I was a crazy leftist, a disgusting progre, I did know a lot of people that were actually either on welfare or some sort of disability payment, so they would get money from the government.
A lot of them are students.
And students, too. But I did know a lot of people that had just stopped being students or
But
were able to get.
I can talk to this a little bit better because I used to be from Los Angeles. So in Los Angeles, if you make under a certain amount of money, so if you are in the low income bracket, they pay you to go to school. So they give you, I believe it's $3,000 to $4,000 per semester to go to community college. Community college doesn't cost that much. It's near free. So it's a free $4,000 you can pretty much live off of. So a lot of these protesters are around that age of collecting that free school money, and they pretty much probably go to community college, a lot of them.
And in Vancouver, I do know
And that's
it was.
why there's so much, there's a lot of propaganda about different protests. This is a huge protest, so that's how they kind of recruit a lot of these people.
Someone's playing basketball on the street. Top left-hand corner. Then I don't know where the people dancing is. The middle.
Oh, what did Rafa say?
Rafa says they also have jóvenes construyendo el. There, he was asking me. They also have jóvenes construyendo el futuro in Canada. So jóvenes construyendo el futuro is a bienestar plan from the current political party in Mexico, Morena, who gives money out for people to do nothing, but it's supposedly like the translation of jóvenes construyendo el futuro is young minds building the future. But they just get a stipend and mostly don't build anything.
And we actually have 7 people watching, so if you don't know, we are broadcasting from Mexico City. So, yes. And there is not much going on right now. I have to admit, you are a lot brighter than I was.
Writer. Yeah. Hi, writer.
You're a writer. You are a writer. There is that one big gathering in Santa Ana, which the feed cut out, so they no longer have it. But that was from the mainstream media. They may have wanted to cut that stream out on purpose.
Yeah, to show that nothing's happening. Yeah. I keep going on like X and checking just regular news media, and pretty quiet still. Oh, apparently the Fort Hood, or Fort Cavazos, whatever you want to call it, the threat was mistakenly set off, according to the latest news. I'm still looking for more stuff. Doesn't seem like there's much. And throughout the week, I'm sure we'll see more pockets of things, or like for tomorrow and Monday, we'll see more like short clips and pockets of things that happened at all of these protests throughout the U.S., but trying to find anything live right now.
Yeah, if there's anybody watching the stream that knows of a better stream out there, because...
Also, let us know. Oh, Riley Gaines is pregnant. Sorry, if you don't know who Riley Gaines is, she's been fighting with Simone Biles. She advocates for boys not to play in girls' sports and for men not to play in women's sports. She used to be a NCAA swimmer. And now she's pregnant and having a kid. That's like what just popped up on for news for me. So, and learning a bit more about the funding, looking more into that, etc. I think will also be interesting to do for Monday and the coming week, because more and more stuff is coming on. Rafa is asking, are you active in social media? Maybe that will get you more views. Active in what sense? Because we have an X.
Yeah, but you don't use it that much.
No, we don't use it too much.
Okay, well, why don't we just go to this?
Because we don't have the time, honestly. I try to start up our Instagram and just haven't had time to keep populating it. But I will. What's it called?
Well, there's an Israeli live.
Yeah.
Because they're bombing right now. So maybe, there's just nothing going on for the protests.
No.
Let me see if I can find.
I mean, there's people in the middle square dancing and stuff.
Yeah,
Where is that?
That's in Los Angeles.
They're doing Payaso de Rodeo. Payaso de Rodeo? Caballo. I don't remember. But yeah, we should be more active on social media. Once we figure out how to fully automate some things, we will.
I wonder if that's Santa Ana or Los Angeles. It looks like Los Angeles, though.
But again, if all protests were like that, as right now it looks mostly peaceful, that I would
it
call
was more
mostly
violent
peaceful.
earlier in the day, and it wasn't even that. It wasn't as crazy. It was the first 3 days really set the tone, I thought. But because the work week came in, and I think everything went in a lull, the police and the military really had time to game plan this out very well. Because almost no cities am I seeing anything happen now.
Yeah. But I'm also, like, I do keep thinking about this not being an excuse for the left to say, see, nothing happened.
Well, things did happen earlier in the day,
I know,
and then on
but-
the first weekend, the amount of fire. There's too much imagery from the first week.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll stay on for maybe 20 more minutes because I honestly think that may be it. Even this feed, he's starting to replay the new live thing. I think are those 2 videos.
So the top, the bottom, and then the people dancing around.
Yeah, and maybe the drone guy, or sorry, not the drone,
The
the
bicycle.
bicycle man. So thank you for joining us tonight. If
Yes.
you did,
Thank you, Walker and Rafa. Thank you for chatting as well and asking things.
we got 9 likes. I wasn't doing anything better.
Yeah.
I would have ate, but I'll eat in 20 minutes, I guess.
Deport cruelty. Well, a lot of those criminals are very cruel. I agree.
And now it's just turned into a dance party, so I really don't think it's going to get violent in that middle one. That's kind of what happened in Canada every night. It was a dance party every night. So once it starts turning into that kind of atmosphere, it's a lot less likely to get violent, and that's the first time we've really seen this atmosphere.
Yes.
Which is
that I'm completely okay with.
Yeah.
Do that more. Stop assaulting people and being annoying and angry and throwing things at people, especially police officers.
And why don't we turn on the volume, see what he's saying? Because he's probably, once in a while he talks.
He hasn't. I haven't really seen him appear.
No.
The scanners.
Oh, let's just listen to the scanners.
Southwest Union by additional request identify.
Because sometimes the scanners, even though if there's not a feed on it,
It'll pick up.
the scanner to its direct police scanner feed. So we'll get to hear any crimes that are happening.
Cancel response.
Is there a group of 15 to 20 people with flags walking up and down the street at Hollywood and Vine?
So Hollywood and Vine is a very famous street.
But it's about 20 people walking around with flags.
Rick Crocs, monitor comments, code 23013, RD 1241.
And Rafa says, I never expect anything from the left, and yet they manage to disappoint me. They always will.
The 16-year-old
Believe
Kaylee
me,
Navarro, female of
I
Panic,
know.
round 52130, DOV 9-9-2008. She was last seen June 12, 2025 at 23 hours, wearing a white t-shirt, red sweater. Her mental condition is good. Any
If you hear
information,
sounds,
contact
we're not trying to
Southeast
copyright. It's people
201.
outside playing
Information
music.
is sent 3015.
522
36.
to 19414 Lauren Street.
19 shows code 6 with Adam 81.
Any information on unit sexual batteries of background on
See, but now sometimes they say things that we can't have on stream.
Victim was not being walked. Correction, victim.
I'm going to mute it just because she's describing what's happening, and we can't have that description on the stream for SA. Or SB, I guess, but
Okay, the dog's good.
okay. Thank you.
She never jumps up unless I have food, so I was like, what's going on
Yes.
here?
Now she wants to play.
Oh, why did you mute it?
Because they were describing SA,
Oh, they were.
and we can't have
It was
that
on the street, or where was it at?
I just started hearing SA corner of blah, blah, blah.
Oh, okay. Let's turn it back on. She's probably done talking about it now.
Okay, go back. Go ahead with the callback.
Proceed to right. Area code 213 440 41.
Is it legal to have
And, yeah, last weekend when they were monitoring the police scanners on these channels, it was nonstop, like major crimes happening. So it seems pretty mellow even on the scanner now.
But again, okay, so now top right hand all the way to the right hand. I don't think it's current, but that's kind of what Portland was looking like.
7th, Lieutenant 2982 or the 563.
Van Nuys units avoid the area of Victory and Van Nuys. The Van Nuys A cars only.
All right, we got about 15 minutes till we go off air. What's the name of this channel that we're watching?
So this is Starship Adventures if you want to continue viewing and listening to the scanners.
12931.
Yeah, and if you're up later tonight, it may be a good idea just to tune into this channel to see if anything did happen once we go off air. Because earlier today, even though this is all primarily LA feeds now, there may be the odd Portland feed. He was doing individual city-by-city live feeds, and it was really good earlier. But I just think a lot of these cities, it's getting really late in now, and they probably cleared him out, like New York.
But yeah, not even people on.
Okay, he's got a Santa Ana cam there. It's very small. It's the top.
Yeah. People walking around.
Yep. So they're not just in that intersection. So there is a lot of activity in Santa Ana. I specifically looked for a Santa Ana cam about 5 minutes ago before I let the dog out. I could not find one. I'm guessing it's probably under.
That's on either Instagram or TikTok. That's either Instagram Live or TikTok Live.
Yeah.
From the words on it. Same as the Portland one, which would be slightly harder for me to grab. It would take me a lot longer to find it.
That's fine. There's still not much going on there. That's the only place there's the bigger crowd, really. It looks like Santa Ana. So in the news tomorrow, and look, they did firebomb some stuff earlier and things like that. So
yeah, they set fire. Yeah, they did set fires up. But then some. Oh, my camera is gone.
Oh, your camera's gone.
I'll continue to talk, I guess, while he fixes it. So now it might just be the guy show again.
3012.
Even our cameras are done, apparently. Sorry about. Oh, there I. Oh, no. I'm gone now again. I can't.
Hey everybody, Starship Adventures still here with you, updating the screens. We've still got a few of them that are rotating in and out of previous videos. I'm still trying to get them all current, but we're just about there. Keeping a watch on everything out there as the evening goes on. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Go like and subscribe to Starship Adventures as well. And thank you. Oh, God, this angle. What is this? I don't know if I do. Why is there so much headroom?
Alameda Street, Illinois Avenue.
There's a bunch of headroom. Oh, no, now it looks like I'm doing signs, which I'm not. Just trying to measure how much there was. Headroom. Oh, too low. It's also out of focus. He always makes me do this before we start. I have to stare at the camera. Oh, shut up, the scanners. See? I am! This is essentially how it is before we always start the lives during the weekdays.
Oh, and maybe we'll do.
He said, Starship Adventures came on and spoke and said he's trying to update the cameras to. Most of the cameras are now updated, but he'll continue to try. And I also said go like and subscribe to him as well. If you aren't.
AXN.
Yeah, AXN News, but there's nothing going on there.
Yeah, but all week he has been good. I was trying to think of the name of the channel earlier. So AX News is also good.
AXN.
AXN. He's somebody that live streams downtown LA on a regular basis, even before the riots. Mm-hmm. So these riots were huge for him as a streamer, I'm sure.
And also, there's a bunch of independent reporters. I believe I have the full list. I'll put it on this live's description as well. But I have it in my Spanish lives, and I think I have it on yesterday's lives of reporters that have been covering the protests since the start of the week and showing clips and things that have of interest. So I was looking at the wrong camera. Things of interest, let's just say, like, I just forgot his name. The guy from today.
Oh, I can't remember.
Nick Shirley.
Oh, yeah,
sorry.
Nick Shirley.
Nick Shirley, Anthony Cabasas. I'm blanking on all the names, but all the names and links to their X accounts, to their exes. Every time I say exes, I feel like I'm saying it to their. It sounds weird.
Oh, I was going to give a little insider baseball for Rafa and Walker. So we have this little sticker on her
computer
right there. That little sticker on her computer. That's from a little donut shop in Vancouver called Lee's Donuts. It was an extremely small donut shop when we first started going there, but by the time we left, they had just incorporated, and that donut shop was opening all over the city.
Yeah, and it actually, because we had to move at a certain point in Vancouver from one place in downtown to another because our apartment flooded, but almost right before we got here, like 6 months before we came to Mexico. And there was a Lee's Donuts like right next to where we used to live, so we used to go there quite often. And one day I don't like having usually stickers on my computers, but he just stuck it there one day.
Yeah.
So now there it is.
Yeah, and even that intersection looks like it's really under control now.
Are they dancing again?
No.
Okay.
That might be a different one, but it's like nothing is going on.
Because Santa Ana, California, that like this little skinny one.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people walking, but.
That's where everything is going down, but there is that intersection in Santa Ana as well where they were surrounding the car.
Rafa says, I'll go there if I ever go to Canada. Go to Leeds, but also go to, if you can, what's it called? It's Honey's Donuts.
Oh, Honey's Donuts.
What's that place called?
Yeah, Deep Cove.
In Deep Cove. Honey's Donuts in Deep Cove. There's no better donuts I've ever had in my life.
Oh, yeah, they're good.
Yes. So if you ever do go to Vancouver, Canada, go to Honey's Donuts.
Oh yeah, and there's no good donuts in Mexico City, like at all.
Because it's not a Mexican. There's churros. There's very good churros.
Even
Why don't you like them? They're good.
I want a good donut. I used to like donuts a lot. But I will say that Tim Hortons started in Canada.
Yeah, Tim
and they're bottom of the barrel horrible in Canada. You go to a Tim Hortons in Mexico City.
They're very fancy.
They're very nice here.
They're almost like Starbucks as well in Canada. If you ever enter any Tim Hortons, and that's why I find it
Not
funny.
Not any Tim Hortons, a lot of them.
Almost any. In Vancouver, at least.
Yeah.
In downtown Vancouver, at least. Any of the ones I had to go to before I went to work or anything. No matter what time of day it is, what's happening, it will always smell like human pee.
Well, and there's a lot of violence happening.
Yes.
The Tim Hortons downstairs from our house, there's multiple things that happen with knives and firearms a couple times.
Also, Starbucks is.
Yeah.
In Canada. So.
Okay, the AXN, there's a lot of cops there, it looks like right now.
I think they're just moving people. Like getting cars to move.
I wonder what city it was raining in. That was the daytime, though. That looks like an older feed, probably.
Which one?
The top center feed?
Oh, yeah. I think it was maybe New York, just from context.
Yeah, and sorry, you guys. We came on here. Actually, right before we came on, she's like, oh, maybe we'll go on a little later. But there was a lot of violence kind of happening in L.A., and a lot of conflicts with police. So I was like, oh, no, let's go on now. It'll be fine. We'll have... we don't need a bunch of stories to talk about, and we'll just monitor the feeds. And man, it was like crickets on these feeds.
Yeah, we literally started streaming, and then everything stopped happening. Essentially.
Yeah, we usually don't come on Saturdays.
No.
We were expecting something different than this. So
he was. I kept saying I think it's going to be a lot milder as a tactic, and maybe tomorrow something will happen. Maybe.
I don't think so.
I mean, we do know...
I also think the U.S. is going to be on extreme high alert right now with police and military because of what's going on in Iran.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And I do know Portland and Seattle, once again, more horrible things did happen there. They tried to storm a DHS building, an ICE building, and things got quite a bit more violent. But once again, that was during the day. Right now, keep monitoring on X. I also don't see anything happening there.
Oh, what's that girl doing her makeup?
Which one? Oh, yeah. I think it switched to a different stream on Instagram, or I don't know what he's on. Maybe Twitch?
That was
I
a
don't know.
Portland feed, though.
Yeah.
And the other one is it says Santa
That is
Ana.
way too much concealer.
Oh, here. Now they went back to it. So this is Portland in the top corner. But the best feeds he's got are like these little tiny ones.
Hello. Our dog keeps trying to play with me. She doesn't understand words.
Okay, we got about 5 minutes left, so I just want to thank everybody that did come over here. We
We
thought
do have some more comments. So, Zesty's Animal, funny name, says, I'd prefer no violence, but human behavior led me here. I subscribe. Thank you so much for subscribing.
We appreciate that.
We are trying to grow this one. We do have quite a bit larger channel, which is called Nat and the Guy in Espanol. I'm from Mexico. I do all content in Spanish over there. And we also have this here. We talk about pop culture, usually 12 Central Time on The Guy Show.
It's called The Guy Live at 12 Central. Then we
Guy
have your
Live.
show on Nat and the Guy in Espanol at 8 Central. Yes. And then at 9:15 Central, Monday through Friday, we do Nat and the Guy Live, where it's not just monitoring police streams. We usually do daily news, and it's usually pretty interesting.
And it's quite a bit more planned, but because we don't stream on Saturdays and have been looking at this and everything else that's been happening today, trying to figure out.
Okay, that looks like the ice building in Portland. I'm sorry it's so small, but he's obviously getting this from X. That does look like the actual ice building that they were trying to firebomb earlier.
Mm-hmm. But that's one of the few places where more horrible things happened. Rafa says, thanks for your hard effort. You do an awesome job keeping us informed. Usually during the week time we do, and now, again, we thought maybe it would be important for us to come on here, also with a perspective from someone from Mexico, we live in Mexico, but and a Canadian. But Zesty's Animal says, nice to meet you, Nat and the Guy. Nice to meet you too. Thank you for being here. And Zesty's Animal also says, Portland protesters are so scuzzy. It's like an open laboratory there.
Well, it's just like
Probably
Vancouver.
is.
So it's like Vancouver,
That's where we
Seattle,
used to live.
Washington. Portland, Seattle, Washington, and Vancouver is like all this NGO money kind of pours into there. So it's the same kind of people, and a lot of people come up from the States, and a lot of the Vancouver protesters go down to Portland. So yeah, it's all organized within the same kind of groups up there. We used to be from Vancouver, so.
Well, I'm from Mexico, but we still live in Vancouver. For the longest time as well, Vancouver was sort of like a progressive testing ground. So we would get a lot of the insane ideas that eventually trickled down first to Seattle, then to Portland, etc. But a lot of it also was like a lab experiment up in Vancouver, because that's where some of the craziest legislation and actually passing that legislation would start to happen.
I think
and
you're
then
looking at the wrong camera again.
Oh, sorry. I'm used to looking at that one when I speak in English and that one when I speak in Spanish.
Yeah, her camera died, so I switched cameras if you're just tuning in.
Yes, that's why I keep looking at the wrong one. But yes, Vancouver is where they used to pass a lot of legislation that then would trickle down to the States because of the NGO money.
Well, I guess we're done for the night. I'm sorry, everybody, there wasn't more violence, but maybe it's a good thing as well.
Yeah, because Zesty's Animal didn't want violence. Which is, I mean, it's always
It's a
better
good
when
thing.
people. Oh, I keep.
Well, there
looking
wasn't
at the
enough
wrong
violence
camera.
from last weekend. I'll tell you what, I was enthralled watching last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting the same thing this weekend, but there
Again, if something crazy happens tomorrow, we'll do a spontaneous live as well. I'll try to warn people on X and let people know earlier. But
yeah, and I'm not the Iran thing we'll cover throughout the week and stuff like that. I know there's live streams going on about that.
Yeah.
I've kind of already shared my views. I think the U.S. should kind of pull out and mind their own business.
Same.
If Israel and Iran want to deal with it, let them deal with it.
Mm-hmm. And
Okay.
also, Rafa says you love this channel. Thank you, Rafa. Rafa is awesome. And Zesty's Animal says, I think so too. So thank you so much for being here. Again, we do cover more newsy type stuff also.
This was a special broadcast tonight, which ended up being not so special. Adios for now.
Well, it's special because I ended up being right. Do you want me to go to the middle camera or no?
What?
The middle camera?
Go to the middle camera.
Oh, there's no middle camera.
All the cameras running out of batteries tonight.
Because they're not used to us streaming on Saturday. But yes, if you haven't liked, subscribed, please do so. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much, Rafa Walker, Zesty's Animal, and everybody else who tuned in. And yes, that was about it. Hold on. Now I gotta move away from here. There. to go to. This is usually also our setup. Because I don't usually. Okay, there we go. Have a good night. Please stay safe out there. If something else does happen, we'll tweet about it, I guess, or X about it. Have a good night.
Adios.